This racetrack, a very demanding one. It is only 1 mile in length. The banking is between 18 and 33 degrees. The track is 60 feet wide, 500 laps, and they'll be able to go from 90 to 100 laps on a tank of fuel. So as we indicated, 40 drivers and cars are lined up ready to go, and here now is the starting lineup for today's event. On pole position in car number 7, the Xerox Antifreeze Sport, qualifying in a new track record of 146.681, will be Alan Kulwicki. Outside of row number 1, Mark Martin in car number 6, the Stroh Light Ford. In the second row, Rick Wilson from Bartow, Florida in the number 4 Kodak Bill Oldsmobile. And alongside will be Jeff Bodine in the number 5 Levi Garrett Chevrolet. The third row, Brett Bodine in number 15, the Crisco Ford. And outside of row number 3 will be the Valvoline Pontiac, driven by Neil Bonnet. Going to row number 4 now, it's Phil Parsons in car number 55, the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile, and Dave Marcus in the number 71 Lifebuoy Soap Chevrolet. The fifth row, starting in 9th position, will be Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet and Bobby Allison in the Miller High Life Buick. Then going to row number 6, it's Rusty Wallace in car number 27. Alongside, starting in 12th position, will be Morgan Shepherd in car number 33, substituting for the injured Harry Gant. In the 7th row, it's Ken Schrader in car number 25. And alongside him will be Davey Allison, the defending champion of this race, in car number 28. Joe Ruttman starts in 15th position, the number 31 car that has been driven previously by Brad Teague. And then Terry Labonte will start outside of row number 8. Row number 9, it's Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin. In the 10th row will be Richard Petty and Ricky Rudd. And as you watch the rest of the starting lineup and the cars roll away, again, we mentioned that a very important concern on everyone's mind is the tire situation. Last week at Charlotte, some major crashes that resulted in some injuries. We will tell you that we have a couple of in-car cameras that will be operating in the event today. And in one of those will be one of the drivers that was injured in a crash last weekend, Rick Wilson. So you can see now the field beginning to move out of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. There's the front row, Alan Kulwicki in car number 7. Alongside in car number 6 will be Mark Martin. There is the in-car camera from the Kodak Oldsmobile, driven by Rick Wilson. And he is driving with some injuries this afternoon. As a matter of fact, will probably be getting out of that car at the first pit stop. Now, Winston Cup rules state that you must take the green flag and start the race in order to gain points. So he will be taking that green flag and then coming in for a pit stop and will be replaced by Tommy Ellis. Now, this is why he is injured. This is the crash that occurred last week in Charlotte.
You can see the right front tire, a piece of it went away, and he just ran right into the wall. It was a very hard lick for him.
And there is the man who is suited up and ready to step into that car at the first opportunity, Tommy Ellis, who is himself a veteran of Winston Cup competition. Rick Wilson sits in the car right now, but the legs and feet are damaged and injured, so he will be getting out as soon as possible.
Bob, one consideration they have to give when they make a driver change is size, and Tommy Ellis, a good race driver, is about the same size as Rick Wilson.
Our second in-car camera is carried by Dale Jarrett in the Hardee's car as Dale begins this race. Hoping for his first Winston Cup race, he'll begin from the 35th starting position. So the field now is moving through turns number 3 and 4, and we should be getting a green flag this time around. It's a beautiful day in Delaware. It's quite breezy, though, with the breeze blowing from the southwest at about 15 to 18 miles an hour. It should not be a factor, however, and may keep the track as cool as possible. The green flag is out, and here we go. Settle back for an afternoon operation here at Dover Downs. Already, it is Alan Kulwicki who has taken over the lead, leaving the battle for second position behind him, and it's a hot contest for second position. That's Rick Wilson on the high side of the racetrack, and below him, also in the hunt for second, is Mark Martin. sometime around the 20-lap mark, or perhaps 25, NASCAR will be throwing a yellow flag, allowing all the teams to come in and check their tires. Now, if we do have a tire failure before then, naturally NASCAR will throw the yellow and everybody will be coming in. Completion of lap number 2. A great battle going on for that second position as we watch from outside the Rick Wilson Oldsmobile. Mark Martin behind in that Stroh's light car, trying to take over that second position as they move through once again the first and second corners.
On the first lap, Mark Martin's car got a little bit sideways, and he had to back off for just a moment to see what was wrong. He perhaps hit a little bit of a oil slick or something, but now the car seems to be working well. In fact, he's going to try it on the outside.
Mark Martin goes to the high side coming off the fourth corner, and he takes over that second position, at least for the moment. Down into turn number 1 they go, and indeed, Mark Martin does have second spot. Rick Wilson is back to third. Running in fourth position is going to be Neil Bonnet. In fifth is Phil Parsons. And sixth position belonging right now to Brett Bodine, and right behind him is brother Jeff Bodine.
Bob, I talked to Darrell Waltrip, who won last week 600 at Charlotte, and he did so by pacing himself, not abusing his tires or his car too much. I said, Darrell, what kind of a speed are you going to have to run here today to reasonably expect to be there at the end and to win this race? He said, I think you're going to have to run about 26.5 seconds around this racetrack. The last time around, Alan Kolicki ran 25.5 seconds, about a second faster.
So Darrell Waltrip is perhaps seeing a faster pace than he had hoped. Phil Parsons, meanwhile, goes to the inside of Rick Wilson, and now Phil Parsons moves into third, and here comes Brett Bodine also behind Phil Parsons, and Rick Wilson is definitely falling back. He is back to fifth at the moment.
And look at Brett Bodine move on the inside of Phil Parsons. Brett was running very strong in practice here late yesterday afternoon and felt he had a good shot at this thing. He ran good all day last Sunday at Charlotte.
Mark Martin, meanwhile, is closing in on the leader, Alan Kolicki. That advantage is now down to only about 2 car lengths as Martin really closes in now as the cars go down the backstretch once again. And Martin may be in a position here to challenge for the lead soon. At the moment, Alan Kolicki has the lead. They come down and complete lap number 7. Mark Martin moving to the inside, at least looking inside. Can't find the room, though. Falls back into second position. He continues the pursuit of the leader.
Now he's going to try it up on the outside. He was able to pass Rick Wilson on the outside, and he's going to do the same thing to Alan Kolicki.
At the end of the backstretch, they are side by side going into turn number 3. Great door handle to door handle action here. Mark Martin with about a half a car length advantage. Let's see what happens as they come out of the corner and onto the straightaway. Martin has the lead and becomes our second leader in 8 laps.
Got in trouble off of turn 4, but apparently they got it straightened out. There was a big traffic jam up there as we see the 2 front cars running still nose to tail.
So the battle at the moment is for the lead. It's between Mark Martin and Alan Kolicki.
Now the pace has slowed some to 26.50. That's about the speed that Darrell Waltrip said it would take to win this race, so they have slowed down a little bit. Of course, naturally, as the tires heat up, they are going to slow down. That's just something that happens in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, but maybe they have just intentionally backed off a little bit.
Let's go down to Jerry Punch very quickly for a report on the tire situation.
Well, gentlemen, you know NASCAR is going to allow a pit stop around lap 22, 23 to bring these cars down and take the tires off. But, of course, one thing to remember, the first 20 laps, you want to see just how much tire wear you're going to get. So all the car owners that I've talked to will go ahead and turn their drivers loose and go ahead and run the cars hard. Run them as hard as you're ever going to run them all day long, these first 20 laps or so. Let's just see what kind of tire wear we get. Right now is not the time to be conservative. Now is not the time to lay back. Let's punish those tires and see if they're going to stand up. We'll come in 20 laps, take them off, and put fresh tires on.
There you can see Davey Allison, who begins to move up through the traffic. He is currently in that 9th position, and right behind Dale Earnhardt, and behind in front of Earnhardt is Rusty Wallace, as we have a 4-car battle for position here. Look at Dale Earnhardt now moved to the inside of Rusty Wallace, who was second last week in the World 600. Rusty Wallace is now in that 7th position, but he has his hands full with a challenge from Dale Earnhardt. Wallace in the 27 car, Dale Earnhardt, of course, in the number 3 machine. Behind him, Davey Allison in car number 28. And And then comes the 33 car, which is being driven today by Morgan Shepherd, substituting for the injured Harry Gant, who we understand has been released from the hospital and is probably watching us here today. And we hope that you'll be back very soon with us, Harry.
Well, it's interesting how we're seeing the cars drift up to about the second groove in the turns now. Normally, in the early part of the race here at Dover, they'll run right down on the inside of the racetrack. But that does put a little more pressure on the tires, so they're letting them drift up in the center of the turn early.
The last practice period yesterday was longer than normal. NASCAR simply giving the teams an opportunity to scuff in as many tires as possible. Thinking of a possible problem here today in the Budweiser 500. Back with more right after this from Dover Downs. We are back at Dover Downs for the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race, and Mark Martin in the number 6 Stroll Light car has the lead at the moment. Running in that second position would be Alan Kulwicki, who was the pole sitter. In third spot is Brett Bodine. Fourth is Jeff Bodine. And fifth position belonging right now to Phil Parsons as the pace begins to settle down just a little bit. And again, we remind you that NASCAR will be throwing a caution flag in the next few laps for the crews to come in and check the tires. And a battle going on back in the pack. Bobby Allison, the number 12 car. That is the 44 of Sterling Marlin, as Marlin maybe gets a little bit sideways. The 31 car this afternoon being driven by Joe Ruttman, and the number 9 Coors Motorcraft 4 driven by Bill Elliott. This is, I believe, 15th, 16th, and 17th position being contested here. Side-by-side action with Bill Elliott and Bobby Allison. Back up front, meanwhile, it is Mark Martin and Alan Kulwicki still running in first and second position. This will complete lap number 21, so we will be seeing that caution flag here in just the next few laps. So far, we have seen no real problem as far as tires are concerned. There's Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 car, and behind him is Morgan Shepherd in the Skoal Bandit, car number 33. We might mention that in addition to Harry Gant, of course, his son-in-law, Larry Pollard, was injured in a Grand National race here yesterday. And the report that we were given earlier today on the condition of Larry Pollard, he is in guarded but stable condition at a local hospital. He sustained a basilar skull fracture but is alert and responding to commands. That is the statement that we were given today by the Speedway and NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt running in 9th position, followed by Morgan Shepherd, and then behind Shepherd is the number 11 car, driven by Terry Labonte, the winner of the Winston. Meanwhile, we have a battle shaping up for the lead, as indeed these drivers are running the cars as hard as they possibly can. Now, Brett Bodine in the 15 machine on the right side of your screen is right there with the leaders. Mark Martin of the dark blue number 6 and Alan Kulwicki in car number 7.
Okay, on the talkback.
24 laps have been completed. Still no indication from NASCAR that they will be going yellow. Perhaps they see no problems, and nobody has perhaps radioed into their crew that there is a problem or a potential problem with the tires. So there it is right now. The yellow flag comes out. The yellow is out, and this is the opportunity now for the drivers to come in and have their tires checked for wear.
And, Bob, I think it was good strategy for them to run as hard as they could during these first 20-25 laps and see what kind of tire problems were going to develop. Of course, everybody will be coming into the pits as soon as they get slowed down, and the pit crews will really go to work.
Well, this is really an excellent idea that NASCAR has to ward off any potential problem. They ran hard for 25 laps. The guys saw what their cars could do. They saw what the tires were going to do, and now they come in and find out exactly how much wear the Hoosiers and the Goodyears have sustained here in the opening 25 laps. 8 drivers started the race on Hoosier tires. They were Jeff Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Ken Schrader, Davey Allison, Bobby Hillen, Ken Bouchard, Ernie Irvin, and Ronnie Thomas. Those 8 drivers started on Hoosier tires. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, the leader, Mark Martin, brings his Stroh-Lite Ford down pit road, and Mark Martin is one of those drivers, Bob Dickens, that qualified on Goodyear tires. Alan Kowicki is also in further up pit road. Everyone is on pit road, one of the busiest times we've ever seen here, because there's been no lapping yet in the field, so everyone gets to come in and pit on the same lap. Left side tires now going on the Mark Martin car, and likewise the Xerox Ford of Alan Kowicki getting left side rubber. Now, they've made the decision here in Mark Martin's car. They have the Hoosier tires going on. They have 8 sets of Hoosiers mounted, only 1 set of Goodyears. That was the set that was on the car. Now, Alan Kowicki is already out, still waiting for Mark Martin to make his move, but Kowicki's moving down pit road, 15 car down pit road, and now finally Mark Martin, whoa, he's locked in behind car number 17, and he hits the side car. The car of Waltrip has stalled, and now Martin is tagged in front of Waltrip's car. His car stalled. He gets it refired, so a near miss here on pit road.
Darrell Waltrip's car definitely did sustain some damage there in the right rear, as now brother Rick Wilson gets his car back out on the racetrack after a pit stop.
Here's Tommy Ellis now, apparently has gotten in the Rick Wilson car, trying to get his shoulder harness adjusted on the car. As we mentioned earlier, there's not too much difference in the size of those 2 drivers, and of course they practiced that driver change yesterday. And you can see Rick Wilson now sitting in the chair with his left leg hung out. That's the one that has been giving him trouble. He's been limping here all week.
And so Tommy Ellis is the relief driver for Rick Wilson as he catches up with the rest of the field. Falling in position right behind the car that's driven by Benny Parsons. The yellow is out because of a tire check. We'll be back with more of our live coverage in a moment.
The big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche. In Ricky Rudd's high-torque Buick. Clean-running Quaker State with
the Budweiser 500. Mark Martin making another pit stop. They're trying to pound out the damage on the left front of that car in his collision with Darrell Waltrip on pit road.
Well, here's the front end off Mark Martin's car. What's left of the front end of this Ford Thunderbird. Mark Martin was exiting pit road and ran into the rear of Darrell Waltrip. Now, Waltrip just didn't stop. A tire rolled in front of the Tide Chevrolet. Darrell had to jam on the brakes to miss that tire. And, of course, coming out trying to get out quickly was Mark Martin. Here's what's left of the front of the car. Sheet metal, part of the shroud that was around the radiator, some of the suspension parts. Hopefully nothing serious. This just holds on the fender area. So they are going to bring Mark back in. They're bringing him back down pit road, and here he comes again. Take a look at the front of the car here. They are trying to piece together some of the sheet metal. They have some of these plastic cords. That is Steve Mill there grabbing the radio, talking to his driver, Mark Martin, trying to describe to Mark what the damage is. The left front of the car, now the entire front section of the car has been peeled away. It won't be quite as aerodynamic as it was before, but apparently if you hear him revving up and drove away, there's no problem with the engine. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, Jerry, I've just taken a lap up and down pit road, and I've been looking at tires, and so far I have yet to see a tire that is blistered. Leo Mell, who runs Goodyear's racing program, was just through here. I won't say he's smiling, but he looked at me and said everything looks okay, and indeed it does. Now to Pit Central. Larry Newber?
Well, Dick, earlier this week, we filed a report on our weekly magazine show, Speed Week, about the tire situation. We said at that time that both the tire companies were not panicking, even though the Hoosier was bringing the same right-side compound they used at Charlotte last week to Dover, and that Goodyear was bringing a brand-new tire. Their computer projections and their experience in this type of racing indicated there was no need to panic, so maybe that really is unfolding. And incidentally, Bob and Jerry have both made reference to the number of cars that started on Hoosier tires and the fact that Mark Martin switched. There were only 8 cars, as Bob mentioned, that started on Hoosier tires, but the interesting aspect of that is that 18 teams have Hoosiers mounted and primarily Hoosier mounted in the pits. There are only 13 teams that are relying exclusively on Goodyear tires for today's race. So the majority of the teams seem to be leaning toward the Hoosier tires despite last week.
So we will be seeing some tire switches made on many of the teams. Darrell Waltrip in car number 17 has sustained some damage on the right rear of that car. He was hit by Mark Martin as Mark tried to pull out of his assigned space in the pit area. But as to whether it'll affect the car, it's really too early to tell. But, Ned, it doesn't look like that it's rubbing against the tire and therefore could not be a real serious problem. See the damage on the right rear of that car as the cars continue to move under caution as We have completed lap number 32, but now Harold Kinder, the official starter for NASCAR, has given the drivers the one more lap indication, and next time by we will be getting a green flag. The leader of the race is Morgan Shepherd in car number 33. Alan Kulwicki runs second. Third is Bill Parsons. Fourth is Terry Labonte, and then the number 15 car driven by Brett Bodine. Now the number 31 machine driven by Joe Ruttman, the Slender U Oldsmobile, was black flagged, and he has come into the pits as being held at the exit of the pit area. Some infraction has been committed apparently by Joe Ruttman, and he has been held by the NASCAR officials here and probably will be allowed to go onto the racetrack as the field comes down and heads into turn number 1.
And Bob, apparently Mark Martin lost a lap during that caution period too. He got out a little bit late, didn't get down to the end of pit road in time. We'll check on that as the green flag flies.
32 laps are in the books, and the green flag comes out once again. Morgan Shepherd leads him down the backstretch. Alan Kulwicki running in that second spot. Then Parsons. Good tight shot there of Morgan Shepherd as he maneuvers through the third and fourth corners. But look at Alan Kulwicki sneak right up on the back spoiler of that car, and Kulwicki appears to be in a position to bid for the lead. He goes to the inside. Morgan Shepherd holds the outside line, and Alan Kulwicki moves around just a little bit, about a half a car length ahead as they came off the corner, but now Shepherd grabs back the advantage just slightly. And look at the action behind the two. That's Bill Parsons in car number 55, who's going to the inside and making it 3 abreast. Look at this. This is not a 3 abreast racetrack, but they made it. And Alan Kulwicki went to second, from second, back into 5th position.
Apparently they built a lot of confidence when they made those pit stops, Bob, and didn't find any tire problems.
Boy, that was really close. Now Bill Parsons has taken over the lead. Dale Earnhardt has moved to second position, and working the high side of the racetrack up there in turn number 4 is Morgan Shepherd along with Brett Bodine in the Crisco machine.
Bob, let me correct the situation. Mark Martin did not lose a lap during that caution period, so we thought that he had been stopped down at the end of pit road. He had not been. He is still in the lead lap, even though he made a number of pit stops during the caution.
Well, in any case, the damage there on the left side of his machine could very definitely upset the aerodynamics of the car, and he could have very well taken himself out of the contest for the win here this afternoon, although, of course, it is very early in the going. There you see the first 4. The battle is for second position. Brett Bodine, who had a very good race last week at Charlotte, is now moving to the inside of Dale Earnhardt, making it a 2 abreast formation there. Bodine grabs second place for the moment. They come down the straightaway, cross the line, and it's almost a dead heat. Brett Bodine perhaps with about a finger advantage as they went across the line. However, here comes Earnhardt back. Now loses that second position and goes to third, and following all of this is Brett's brother, Jeff Bodine, in the number 5 car.
Very impressive run for Brett Bodine as he had last week in Charlotte. His car owner, Bud Moore, of course, at home recuperating from a broken leg when Brett came into the pits and hit his car owner, so he'd certainly like to do some more making up for that by winning the race here today.
Second position. The lead is being held by Bill Parsons. Dale Earnhardt and Brett Bodine are side by side for second. Now Earnhardt has the second spot nailed down at the moment. But again, we see Brett Bodine coming back on the inside of the racetrack. Jeff Bodine is watching from behind. So is Bill Elliott in the number 9 red machine. And then the 33 Skull Bandit green and white car driven today by Morgan Shepherd.
Earnhardt just won't give up that position. Of course, that's his nature. He wants to race and stay up there if he possibly can. He's running a little higher groove than Brett Bodine, so he's giving Bodine room to run down on the inside, but Bodine just simply hasn't been able to move around him yet.
Single file formation as Bill Elliott now goes high of Jeff Bodine coming out of the second corner as they battle for position. And there's a good fight up front still for that second spot as Earnhardt and Brett Bodine are really locked in a tussle.
Earnhardt has to have a lot of confidence in young Bodine to run in on the outside of him going into the turns this way, but they have done some good, clean, hard racing here. Now Bill Elliott comes into the picture. He's going to try to move up on the outside of Bodine by following Earnhardt, but he couldn't do it that time.
Bodine, who is running in third. And his best finish ever in Winston Cup competition last weekend at Charlotte. He finished in fourth spot. But now here comes Bill Elliott in the Coors Motorcraft Ford on the outside, and Brett Bodine suddenly falls from second back to fourth position. As the lead is held by Phil Parsons, then Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, and the number 15 car driven by Brett Bodine. There's the leader, Phil Parsons, who is leading at the end of 43 laps. We'll be back with more of our live coverage right after this. Has moved ahead of Phil Parsons and has grabbed the top spot, and Elliott has virtually come from nowhere, Ned, but has really moved up and looks strong.
Well, he had a good pit stop and got himself up there in good position to make a run toward the front, and then he just picked them off one by one, and with ease, Bob. That car is really working. He went by a couple of cars on the outside. He passed Phil Parsons, of course, on the inside, so it looks like he can go about where he wants to, and he's not holding back as far as the tires are concerned. He's ready to go.
So that puts Bill Parsons back into second position and Brett Bodine to third. Here's how Bill made the pass coming off four.
And he just dipped down to the inside, stayed on the inside down the straightaway, picked up a little bit as they went into turn one, and moved right on around.
Fourth position is Dale Earnhardt. Fifth at the moment is Morgan Shepherd. Running in that sixth spot is Terry Labonte. Seventh belongs to Davey Allison, then Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Rusty Wallace. Those are the top 10 at the moment. And the 26 car, driven by Ricky Rudd, is in for a pit stop. And Rudd, another one of those that we refer to as the walking wounded, because he was injured in a crash at the Winston at Charlotte.
And certainly this is an unscheduled pit stop, Bob. They're changing the right side tires. Now they're going around to the left side tires, so they're changing all four on the Quaker State Buick. So it's going to be a costly one for Ricky Rudd, a former winner here at Dover.
Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who is going to report on the track temperature. Jerry?
Well, a lot of the drivers and crews were hoping it would be cool today. Yesterday and Friday it was fairly brisk here at Dover, Delaware, but it was awfully warm today. At 12:38 p.m., it is exactly 104.1 degrees here on pit road. It is extremely hot for this time of year here at Dover. What everyone was dreading has happened. It is hot here at Dover, Delaware.
Well, the air temperature is only about 72 degrees when we took to the air, but obviously the track temperature is much warmer than that. It's 107 degrees in the Hardee's car that Dale Jarrett is driving.
Now, can you imagine playing golf on a day when it's about 95 or 100 degrees and we complain about that, and we get a chance to get in the shade every once in a while, and here's a fellow sitting there with all of these drivers sitting in cars that's well over 100 degrees, and they're having to work both physically and mentally out there every moment.
Of course, you also play golf in your shirt sleeves, and these drivers, of course, are sealed in their uniforms. Let's go down once again to the pit area.
Well, we've got a tire problem here for sure. Here's a tire that came off Ricky Rudd's car. Mike Alexander, who's designated to take over for Ricky if he needs relief, has just put the tire temperature gauge along it. Nothing unusual about tire temperature, but that's unusual. That's what we don't want to see. That's the chunking that we were talking about earlier. Now, most of the teams have tried to harden these tires up so they won't work. They won't do this kind of thing. But obviously, at least with Rudd's team, at least with one tire, it hasn't performed as expected.
Well, let's hope that's an isolated incident and will not be the standard as we move through this race. Now, with 54 laps in the books, that has been, as far as we know, the only problem with tires to this moment. Bill Elliott is the leader of this race. And there is Dale Earnhardt in the 3 car. Morgan Shepherd in car number 33. Right behind them, Terry Labonte in car number 11. Then comes Davey Allison, Jeff Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Rusty Wallace, as this is the battle for that 4th spot, and it's involving many cars. Look at Davey Allison in the 28 car move inside of Terry Labonte and try to pick up his spot. And Allison is going to do it as they go into turn number 3. At least he had it there for the moment. Now he inches ahead of Terry Labonte.
Allison is one of the drivers who started to qualify on Hoosiers and is running Hoosiers. He was very fast in practice here yesterday afternoon, but he hasn't been able to make that pass completely on Labonte. Maybe he has now, trying to move on the inside of Morgan Shepherd now.
Well, he is the defending champion of this race. Davey Allison last year walked off with a checkered flag. Now he moves to the inside and passes Morgan Shepherd in car number 33 and sets his sights on the defending Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt. They're side by side to the finish line, and the fans are standing on their feet cheering for their respective favorite. Now Davey Allison has that second sitting at the fourth position. So Davey Allison moves to fourth, and Dale Earnhardt is back to fifth. The top four spots are held by Bill Elliott, Brett Bodine, and the number 55 car of Phil Parsons. And we have another tire stop on pit road. The 75 car, driven by Neil Bonnet, is in for a tire change.
And they're going to the right side. They looked at the left side, but apparently are only going to change the right side. Let's go down to Dick Bergman in the pits.
Well, they did pull the right side tires off. So far, what I see, I don't see any problem with blistering. I don't see any problem with chunking, but they have replaced the right side tires on Neil Bonnet's car.
Of course, that cost him a lap on the racetrack. It could be that he developed a vibration or something of that nature and thought that he had a tire coming apart. Sometimes the tires will equalize. That is, the inner tire will become the same pressure as the outer tire. That will cause a vibration. Boy, that battle continues there with Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt.
Boy, it sure does. And Jeff Bodine and Alan Kulwicki and Rusty Wallace are also right there in the thick of things. As Pack comes off of the fourth corner, Ricky Rudd is also right there in the Quaker State car. Terry Labonte moving up now as Dale Earnhardt is falling back just a little. He is back to 7-5. And here comes Alan Kulwicki alongside.
And Bob, while that racing's going on way back in the pack and not too far from being lapped is Darrell Waltrip. Now, whether he's running laps by design or whether that altercation on pit road had some effect on his automobile, but Bill Elliott is only about 2 seconds behind Darrell Waltrip and having him a lap down.
Confidence, Ned, that you talked about earlier, I think is beginning to show because these drivers are fighting side by side. They're obviously up to just about full speed on these cars, and they're apparently confident that the tires are holding, at least for the moment.
They certainly are driving that way. As you see them racing side by side and in big packs of cars. We see J.D. McDuffie. It's good to see him back on the racetrack again. First race that he's run in the Rumpel Pontiac since he was burned in Daytona back in February.
There is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17. We understand that he will be coming in for a pit stop momentarily because the car is just not running the way he would like for it to. We don't know whether it's a problem with the engine or whether it's the body work, the body damage that was sustained. It looks as if they're going to at least change tires on the car as Darrell comes in. Now we go back to Dale Earnhardt. There you can see Darrell going down a lap. There is Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. Wallace in the 27 car and Earnhardt in car number 3.
Earnhardt perhaps driving a little more conservative, Bob, than we normally see him, and I would say this is by design. He's certainly in the thick of things right now, but he's not getting in there and rooting the way that he normally does.
Well, of course, last week there was again at least accusation made against both Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt of some rough driving tactics, but as we heard in the very open of the show, both those drivers have put it behind them. They're all out for competition here this afternoon as Darrell Waltrip comes in and Jerry Punch is right there.
Darrell Waltrip was radioed into the pit and told him that the car was awfully loose. He thinks he may have a right rear tire that just came apart. Now, Darrell Waltrip is all on Goodyear tires. He said, I'm going to dance with the girl that brought me, so he has no Hoosier tires whatsoever now. He's going to try to stick with Goodyear. They're taking the right side of the car off, and the back of the car has been pushed in a little bit. They are working to change the weight a little bit. Waltrip is down and away. The tires actually look pretty good to keep up the car. They don't want to be blistered at all. Let's go to pit central and Larry Newman.
Well, Jerry, remember last week, early in the race at Charlotte, Darrell Waltrip dropped and lapped to the leader because he had to come in and pit unexpectedly. And it was a situation at that time, unlike this one, very similar to what we just saw with Neil Bonnet. Darrell came in for no apparent reason. He later in the week used the word paranoid to me. I was so concerned about tires, I felt a slight vibration, and I immediately ducked into the pit. His only problem a week ago was they had lost a tire weight. That's how severe and how serious the tire situation is being taken right now by all of the competitors.
Very good comment, Larry. Those remarks, of course, made on Speed Week last week when Darrell admitted that he was scared out there for the first time in a long time. And not only that, he was praying very hard during the course of the race that he wouldn't experience a problem as so many of the other drivers had done. There's the leader, Bill Elliott, in the number 9 Coors Motorcraft Ford. At the end of 68 laps, he is the leader with Brett Bodine running second and Phil Parsons third. Back with more right after this. Stay with us. On it for a second time in just a very few laps. Neil is in for a tire change. The Valvoline Pontiac rolling back onto the racetrack, however. Let's go down to the pit area for a report on this situation.
Well, Bob Jenkins, they really don't know what the problem is here in the Valvoline pit. This is the third set of tires they put on this automobile, and they just can't seem to find out what is going wrong. But I will tell you that several members of other teams have been down here looking at them, and although Bonnet is using Hoosier tires, I'll guarantee you the Goodyear guys have been down here looking too. Everybody's watching everybody else to see what's happening with tires. It is the #1 story so far in the race.
Well, there were many bad accidents last weekend at Charlotte, but in my estimation, one of the toughest accidents involved Neil Bonnet. Of course, he was injured at Charlotte last year and sustained that very badly broken leg and ankle. And he also had a hard shot last weekend at the World 600, but came out of it with relatively few injuries, although he does have some pain in the car this afternoon. But I'm sure that's the furthest thing from his mind. He's concerned right now about possibly winning the Budweiser 500 here at Dover. Bill Elliott is the leader of this race at the end of 76 circuits.
His car is really working well, Bob. He can drive it just about anywhere he wants to. And of course, when a car is handling well, that doesn't put nearly as much pressure on the tires, doesn't heat them up nearly as much. So he's sitting there in a good position right now.
Well, Dale Earnhardt is not running the tires off of his car by any means. He is driving what appears to be a very conservative race at the moment, and I don't know whether that's by his choosing or whether the car isn't working well for him. But Earnhardt is certainly not on the pace in this first 77 laps.
I would say that he's just pacing himself right now, Bob, the way that he's running. He moves up and keeps himself a good straight line when someone comes up and wants to pass him, and he's trying not to pinch the car into corners. You see him let it drift up a little bit, which of course doesn't put as much strain, build as much heat into the tires. I would say that he's running a designed race there at the moment.
He is back in 20th position. Dale Earnhardt, car number 3, running in 20th, and here comes Bobby Hillin Jr. in car number 8 to challenge for that 20th position, as Hillin, who won yesterday's Grand National race here at Dover, would also like to win today's Winston Cup event.
You see, Earnhardt is not fighting anyone now who comes up to race with him. He just gives some racing room down on the inside and lets them go if they want to go. He remembers a week ago at Charlotte when Darrell Waltrip did a similar type thing and came home to win.
Well, Dale certainly is not in danger of going a lap down, and of course that would be his concern at this stage of the game. And he's driving a very conservative race at the moment, probably by design. The number 25 car of Ken Schrader came down pit road but did not stop, and the reason he didn't stop is because the yellow flag has come out on the speedway.
So Schrader went right on through the pits, and of course his crew saw the yellow flag and waved him right on through.
We are not certain as to why the yellow has been displayed. I don't think there has been a spin or an accident on the track, perhaps a piece of debris or
perhaps another stop to take a look at those tires.
Exactly.
We're not too far away from a normal pit stop coming up, and for safety reasons, NASCAR might have, and that's speculation on my part at the moment, decided to let them come in, check those tires out now under caution period.
And here comes the leader, Bill Elliott, and those who are running immediately behind him. Elliott comes in, so does Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison, Terry Labonte, Alan Kowicki, Rusty Wallace, and others. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, Bill Elliott brings his Ford to a halt. They will change right side tires on the Coors Ford. Now, remember, they had a yellow flag at lap 25, and now they went back to green at lap 30, and they have a yellow flag at lap 50. So Elliott getting now right side tires, and will come around and no, just let right side, they'll get left side tires as well on the Coors Ford. Let's go up pit road to Dick Berger. Dick?
Well, I'm with Morgan Shepherd. They've just changed 4 Hoosier tires on his car. They all look good. Right up in front of him is Kowicki, also changing Hoosier tires. He started on Goodyear's. I don't see any problems at this end of the pit so far.
All right, Alan Kowicki moves out. So does Michael Waltrip, who was running 9th when the yellow came out, and a very fine performance for him. Some of the others now begin to move away from pit road, including Richard Petty, Ricky Rudd, Buddy Baker. Davey Allison now comes out. So does the yellow car there, the Kodak Film Oldsmobile, driven by Tommy Ellis in substitution for Rick Wilson. So our second caution period of the afternoon has come out, and you can see several other cars coming in now for a pit stop, including Darrell Waltrip, and the number 6 car of Mark Martin is in. Here comes Ken Schrader, Neil Bonnet, Dave Marcus, Benny Parsons, and others. Bobby Hillen Jr. also included in those making a pit stop right now. There's Darrell Waltrip. As they go to work on the right side of that car, and it appears to be at least a 4-tire, at least a 3-tire. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-tire change for Darrell.
And Bob, we have confirmed that NASCAR did call for this caution for a tire check, and I think it was a good, smart move on their part, and certainly in the interest of safety.
Well, that's, of course, the thing on everybody's mind this afternoon, is to not have a repeat of what happened last weekend, injuring drivers, and so they are throwing these caution flags every now and then so that everybody can come in and check the tires, and it gives everybody, of course, an opportunity to stay on the lead lap. Now, the car that will be given the top position, we believe, is the number 15 car driven by Brett Bodine. We'll be right back. Speedway, as we are live on this Sunday afternoon for the Budweiser 500. And the second caution period of the day is because of a tire check. And there you can see some of the crews hosing down the tires and cooling them off.
Even though the temperature is in the low 70s here today, Bob, when the sun shines down on them, that tire will heat up quite a bit more than the 72 or so degrees that it is. So they keep hosing them down to keep them cool. Of course, the tires that they took off of them, many of them, if the tires were okay, they'll put those on later on today and said, hey, we got a good set of tires here that's really been cured. So they'll put them back on.
Let's go to Pit Central. Larry Newber.
Well, Bob and Ned, shifting our emphasis just a moment away from the tires. Sure, we're all concerned, but there are other parts of this race and other factors, and one of them certainly is fuel mileage. Now, Ned, you can answer this. Sometimes the people getting the best fuel mileage indicate what car is running the best. And after the first 25-lap yellow we had about a half hour ago, here were the cars that were getting the best fuel mileage. They used only 5 gallons and decimal points of fuel in those 25 laps. They were Mark Martin and Alan Kawicki, who were leading the race. They were down in the 5-point-something. Buddy Baker, Bill Elliott, and Darrell Waltrip. The worst fuel mileage was turned in by Bobby Allison and Lake Speed.
So fuel consumption also a concern here as we go back to green. And Brett Bodine, the number 15 car, is the leader of the race. Terry Labonte is shown in second, followed by Bill Elliott, Morgan Shepherd, and Rusty Wallace. Those are the top 5 as we go back to green.
And, of course, that's Ricky Rudd in the green car, number 26, down on the inside, trying to get one of his laps back. He made an unscheduled green flag pit stop, so he was at least 1 lap down.
And the number 31 car of Joe Ruttman is also there on the in that pack, coming down the straightaway. Ricky Rudd drifting high on the racetrack and allowing Terry Labonte and Joe Ruttman to pass underneath. Again, Ruttman is also, we believe, a lapped car. Yes, he is, and is trying to get a lap back. He's in the number 31 Slender U Oldsmobile.
But look at Bill Elliott coming once again. He had another good pit stop, even though he lost the lead during that pit stop. But he came back out in the top 5, and that car is working well for him once again. So those 2 drivers up in front of him, Brett Bodine and Terry Labonte, better watch out because Elliott's on the move.
Well, in my opinion, here in the first 87 laps of this race, I would have to say that Bill Elliott has demonstrated the best car, the fastest car, and the best handling car, perhaps. Well, we have had 2 series of pit stops, and for a summary of what happened during them, we go to Pit Central once again.
Well, Bob, I think the relative conservative pace between laps 25 and 80 is reflected here in our pit summary. As you can see, the majority of the people running in the top 10 position, we've selected 5 key ones, have come out, had very good pit stops, and come out in relatively the same positions they were in. Under yellow flag conditions, keep in mind that if you don't lose or gain positions by more than 2 or 3, you basically turn in that same pit stop as all the other crews. There were other situations up and down pit road that cost or gained you positions for you. I think the most interesting aspect of those pit stops is Morgan Shepherd, of course, the subbing for Harry Gantz, running with the Travis Carter crew. They are on familiar with each other, but still, they came in the top 10 and left in the top 5. A really strong performance by that new combo for this week.
Indeed, Larry, not only in the pit area, but Morgan Shepherd is giving that car a good ride on the racetrack itself. There you can see that Bill Elliott has now moved around Terry Labonte, and Bill Elliott is now in second position, chasing the leader of the race, Brett Bodine. Dick Berggren has this report from pit road.
Well, Bob, racing is definitely preparation and perspiration. This is a right rear tire that came off Richard Petty's car. As you can see, it's blistered. Now, some of the teams in the last practice session yesterday afternoon took the opportunity to break in many, many sets of tires. Some both brands, some only Hoosiers, some Goodyear. Petty stuck with the Goodyears. Right now, the Goodyear tires appear to be having a bit of a problem on the right-hand side. Petty's only got one set of Hoosiers here. If he wants to change, he's stuck.
We might want to go take a look for what happened to Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip made an unscheduled pit stop earlier because he said the car was awfully loose. And the car felt like it was just maybe cutting a right rear tire down. They came in, they changed those tires. Everyone up and down pit road swarmed over those tires, including the Goodyear engineers. And the tires looked perfect, which is really good news for Leo Mel and Goodyear. The tires were great. But the problem still persists for Waltrip. The car is very loose. They figured out what it is. When he was hit on pit road by Mark Martin, it bowed the right rear fender out. And it's catching air. And Darrell said when it goes in the corner, it just picks the right rear of the car up, and the car gets awfully loose. Nothing they can do about it right now. I'd like to work on it later if they get a lengthy caution flag.
So indeed, that little incident between Darrell Waltrip and Mark Martin on pit road did upset the aerodynamics of the Waltrip car. And also, Mark Martin is certainly not setting a world's record here. He is back in 20th position and doesn't appear to be in a position to move up very quickly. There are the first three running nose to tail. That's Brett Bodine, followed by Bill Elliott, and then comes Terry Labonte.
And those cars seem to be pretty well equally matched at the moment. Elliott moved around Labonte with relative ease a little while ago, but he hasn't been able to move away from him. He's been able to pass Brett Bodine, but Bodine is running a very good line around the racetrack. That car is handling very well, too. So he is pleasing his car owner Bud Moore right now, and the crew, the Crisco crew that are here working on the car. Doug Williams is the crew chief. Of course, Doug's son here, Greg, is partly in charge as well, so they've done their homework.
Brett Bodine, the leader of the race, goes into this event 19th in the point standings. His best finishes of the year, of course, as we mentioned last week at Charlotte, he was fourth, his best finish ever in Winston Cup competition, and he has one other top 10 finish this year. That was in Atlanta, where he wound up in 9th spot.
Brett, of course, started his racing career in late model stocks, I think, and then immediately went to modifieds, or pretty quickly to modifieds. He was a very winning driver in that division for a long time, and then he moved to south to participate on the Busch Grand National circuit for a while, and then got the opportunity to go Winston Cup racing last year with Hoss Ellington, and got the Bud Moore call for a full-time ride this year.
This is only his 26th start in Winston Cup competition. He's running strong, but look at Bill Elliott as he's right there following Brett Bodine, only within just a couple of car lengths. We're nearing the 100 lap mark. 98 are in the books right now. So in just one more lap and about a quarter of a lap, we will have reached the 1/5 point of this race.
Now Elliott seems to be getting anxious, Bob. He looks like he's ready to make a move.
Let's see what happens here. He pulls alongside of Bodine going into turn number 1. And again, they go wheel to wheel in there. Bodine's car drifts a little bit high, and Bill Elliott has the lead back.
I don't think Brett fought him too much. He decided to say, hey, I'm not going to abuse my tires too much here. Maybe we're running a little bit faster than we want to. Let Elliott run out front there if he wants to. I'll follow along behind him.
Already we have had 8 different leaders and now 10 lead changes. So the race has been very competitive, and the race has been very safe to this point. We have only had 2 caution periods, and both of those were for an intentional pit stop allowed by NASCAR for the Winston Cup teams to check tire wear. Back with more of our live coverage of the Budweiser 500. Bill Elliott in the Coors Motorcraft Ford has the lead. And as you can see, Ford has won 2 of the last 3 Budweiser 500s. And Brett Bodine in another Ford, car number 15, is running in second position. Morgan Shepherd has come on here to go into third, passing Terry Labonte, as we have this report from the pit area once again.
The car that Brett Bodine is driving today is the same car that Ricky Rudd dominated both the fall events last year and in 1986 here to get his 2 wins at Dover, Delaware. Now, Brett Bodine told me before the race, he said, you know, Jerry, we've had everything go wrong this year. Everything that could happen has happened. In fact, I've done everything this year except run over my car owner. Well, last week I did that. I just haven't had the best of luck. During the race earlier this week, the guys in the pit here had a little special drawing. Let's talk to Greg Moore. Greg is the son of Bud Moore and is running a team today. And Greg, I'm told that you guys had to draw straws back in the garage to see who would hold the pit for today. Who lost?
No, we really just tried to develop a different system to where we let Donnie Wingo, who changes the left side tires, hold the pit board. It makes a more efficient pit stop.
The car is running awfully well. Are you having Brett hold back a little bit? Not to show his hand right now early on.
Yeah, he's holding back a little. The car's working real good right now. We're just keeping our fingers crossed.
Well, they're wishing their best luck to his father, Bud Moore, who's recuperating back in Spartanburg. Bud's watching today, Bud. They're going to try to bring you home a trophy from Victory Lane.
Well, Brett's conservative nature here in the race, evident right there where he was passed by Morgan Shepherd. So Shepherd now moves to second, and third is Brett Bodine. Running in fourth position is the, well, we'll watch the battle here for the lead as Morgan Shepherd appears to be in a position to bid for it. No, falls in now behind Bill Elliott. But boy, Morgan Shepherd is getting a good run out of that 33 Skoal car.
Yes, he is. The car's working very well. He's on Hoosier tires. He tries to go on the inside, but Elliott closes the door on that at the moment, at least.
Well, for Harry Gant, who is watching from his living room, hopefully, it's been kind of an up-and-down weekend. He saw his son-in-law, Larry Pollard, look at Morgan Shepherd try for the lead here down the backstretch, side by side with Elliott. And Shepherd has the lead into turn number 3. Will Bill Elliott let him go? No. Here comes Bill back, and we have a problem right in front of them. Oh, boy, that was close.
Yes, it was.
Jimmy Horton, who has spun up in turn number 4, as the others take evasive action, some going high and some going low to avoid Jimmy Horton, who has whose car was stopped right in the high groove.
Just in the groove that they like to run in fact, have to run in when they're running full speed coming off of that turn. I'll tell you, some very heads-up driving there, Bob, that we didn't see when that happens right in front of the leaders. And it looks like the right front tire is flat on Jimmy Horton's car, and that perhaps was the reason for the spin.
Indeed it is. The crew goes to work and changing it. I was mentioning the fact that Harry Gant has certainly had some bright moments and some very sad moments here this weekend. He saw his son-in-law Larry Pollard drive his car in the Grand National race yesterday and do extremely well until just the closing laps when Larry was involved in a very serious crash in turn number 4. And again, we repeat that he is listed in guarded condition at a local hospital. He did sustain a basilar skull fracture, but was alert and responding to commands, according to the statement that was issued to us today by the racetrack. Here are the pit stops. On top is Morgan Shepherd. On the bottom is Bill Elliott. We'll watch the crews go to work. It appears as if they're not going to change tires on the 33 car, did they, Ned?
It looked like they changed the left side tires on the car and sent him right on back out. Of course, he's running the Hoosier tires, and I'm sure they checked those right side tires, but decided that that was all they needed. Of course, Elliott going for a 4-tire change.
He's still on pit road as he throws his cup of water out the right side of the car. The crew working on the left, getting the tires secured there. Elliott goes out of the pit area and almost has a collision with, I believe, Bobby Allison, who is pulling out right behind of Bill Elliott. So we're cautioned for the 3rd time this afternoon, and this one was because of a spin. There was no contact with the wall made by Jimmy Horton up in turn number 4, but it's the first caution period of the afternoon. It is a result of something other than a courtesy displayed by NASCAR. Now, here's the way it was, the battle for the lead, and right ahead of them, the spin.
And they were battling for the front position, and of course, both of them saw it and got down to the inside of the track. We saw Terry Labonte go on the outside of Horton.
Jimmy Horton quickly got his car into the pit area. They changed tires on it, and he is back out. And some of the others are coming in for a pit stop, including Darrell Waltrip and Brad Knopfsinger. So the yellow is out for the 3rd time. We'll be back with more right after this from Dover. Sign is being given to the drivers. 1 more lap to go before we resume competition and go back to racing. The lead is held by Morgan Shepherd in car number 33. Elliott is running second. Brett Bodine is third. Bobby Hillen Jr. fourth. And Terry Labonte fifth at the end of 112 of the 500 laps. Dick Berggren is with Travis Carter, the crew chief on the car being driven this afternoon by Morgan Shepherd.
Well, Travis, everybody else up and down pit road changed 4 tires. You changed none. How come?
Well, the Hoosier tire seems to be working real well. We haven't seen any extreme temperature. The wear looks real good. According to the wear, we can go more than the distance of one pit stop, so we've only run 15 or 20 laps on them at this point. The tire's working well. There wasn't any sign of any heat. So we felt we're just as good or better with the tires that have had a few laps on them, and that way it keeps us up front. So everything looks real good for us right now. Morgan's doing a good job. He's thinking real well, and we're looking forward to a good race today.
Okay, Jerry Punch with Ernie Elliott. Jerry?
Ernie, your tires look awfully good. The Goodyears had good temperature all across the right side.
Yeah, the car's working real good. You know, he's not running very hard, which I don't think anybody is. You know, basically just trying to get, you know, through this first section of the race. Here you're going to be racing for 4.5 hours, so there's going to be running very hard right now.
Well, they're holding the reins in on Bill Elliott, just trying to get those tires to work, and we're going back to green.
Neil Bonnet trying to get a lap back, but Morgan Shepherd is trying to prevent him from doing so. Bonnet in the 75 car, Bill Elliott right behind him, then Brett Bodine. Ricky Rudd is there in the 26 car, and he is also a lap down in the field. Elliott chasing the leader, Morgan Shepherd. Brett Bodine is also right there as now Neil Bonnet is being passed by those 2 cars.
Normally, the Goodyear tires will run faster when they're new, and it looks like they are.
And here's Elliott making a bid on the inside. He's got the lead again from Morgan Shepherd. Bill Elliott goes back into the lead.
It'll be interesting to see, Bob, after about 10 laps, after the Hoosier tires gets heated up. Here's Brett Bodine making a move, too. He has on fresh Goodyear tires to see if Shepherd will be able to come back up through there, but he'll have to fight his way back because he's lost back to third now.
Running in fourth is Terry Labonte. Fifth, Bobby Hillen Jr. in sixth position is Phil Parsons. Seventh is Rusty Wallace. Eighth is Dave Marcus. In ninth is the number 5 car driven by Jeff Bodine. 10th position belongs to Bobby Allison. 11th is Lake Speed. 12th is Buddy Baker. And 13th is the number 6 car driven by Mark Martin. Now there is our pole sitter, Alan Kulwicki. He is back, we believe, in 18th position, and Larry Newber has this from Pit Central.
I'll tell you, when this race started, no 2 drivers other than Alan Kulwicki and Mark Martin had more confidence that they would do well today. And as much of a guarantee that I can give you without sitting in the seat next to Alan Kulwicki, I believe from the bottom of my heart that he is absolutely in control of himself and this race. That might well be the superior car. He told me yesterday leaving the racetrack, God willing, I'm going to finish that race tomorrow because I think I've had some good chances, but tomorrow at Dover, God willing, may be my best chance of all.
Well, you're looking at Alan Kulwicki there on the left side as he drifts up high of Michael Waltrip. We're watching from Dale Jarrett's Hardy's Oldsmobile. That's the number 30 car of Waltrip and Alan Kulwicki right ahead. We check the temperature inside the car. And it's 108 degrees inside, almost 109 degrees inside that race car.
And Dale running up awfully close to those drivers. They don't know which one to follow as they go into the turn. And
we almost had a spin over in turn number 2. Earnhardt nearly spun the car, is being passed now. He, we understand, got sideways, gathered it in, however, and Earnhardt is still out there at full speed, but a close call for Dale Earnhardt.
And it really bunched a lot of cars up together. We were watching that battle between Michael Waltrip, Alan Kulwicki, and Dale Jarrett, and a bunch of cars behind him. You can see Earnhardt as he goes into the turn on the inside, and the back end of the car gets loose. Richard Petty right behind him. And Earnhardt really has a handful, but he does gather it back in. And I'll tell you, if anybody can do it in a situation like that, it's Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt was running 14th when the little incident occurred, but he lost a couple of positions because of it. But now that car is up to full song once again. And Ken Schrader races beside him, in the number 25 car. Well, while at North Wilkesboro and some of the other short tracks should go full out all afternoon. A very conservative pace is being run here today by many of the Winston Cup competitors, as they are a little bit skeptical still at the moment with the tire wear that the cars are getting. They're just biding their time and waiting to see what happens to the others, playing a very conservative race.
Even though there's still some good racing going on, Bob, as we're seeing between Kenny Schrader and Dale Earnhardt. But Schrader knows that he can't, for many laps at least, dive that car down into the turns normally the way they would and punish those tires, because it doesn't take too much to heat them up. And it takes a long time to cool them down when you're out there running.
Alan Kulwicki is right behind the 25 car. There's the leader, Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia. In the Coors Motorcraft Ford, completing lap number 125. As a huge crowd looks on here in Dover, Delaware, we'll be right back. Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race, the lead held by Bill Elliott, and we are just past the 1/4 mark. 130 laps are into the books, and let's go down to Pit Central for Larry Newber and a recap of what's happened so far.
Bob, we are a quarter of the way through this race. The racing has been outstanding. You see Alan Kulwicki right in the middle of Bill Parsons and Morgan Shepherd. Yes, that's Morgan Shepherd in the Skull Bandit number 33. You can see the 2 and 3 abreast racing. Later in the contest, Shepherd is inside of Bill Elliott. They're racing for the lead, and Jimmy Horton is spun right in front of them, but they both give each other enough room, and there is no incident. A near spin. Dale Earnhardt at the top of your screen. Mr. Goodwrench, lap number 3, almost loses it once, twice, but gathers it back in right in front of the pole setter, Alan Kulwicki. It's been an exciting day, which started under ominous conditions, but so far, no serious incidents, despite the tire story being the big story of this race. The leader to this point is Bill Elliott.
So that's what has happened in the first 1/4 of this race, and the pace is rather conservative at this point, but as Larry indicated, we have seen some great dicing for position. Elliott now stretches out the lead. He has almost a half a straightaway advantage on Brett Bodine, as Bodine and Morgan Shepherd and Terry Labonte try to keep pace with the 4 driven by Bill Elliott.
Bob, he's turning laps at about in seconds of about 26.25 to 26.30, and that's a little faster than Darrell Walter predicted earlier. He said about 26.50 was the pace that they would need to set and expect the tires to stay on the car.
Now here is the 3rd place battle, the number 33 car of Morgan Shepherd and Terry Labonte, as the 2nd place car of Brett Bodine is right ahead of him. Actually, all 3 cars are certainly in this battle for 2nd position. Brett Bodine, though, in a very strong race here in the first quarter, but Morgan Shepherd has also driven a very fine race in the substitute role for Harry Gant.
It looks like the Hoosier tires are beginning to come back in for Shepherd, because Terry Labonte had moved around him at one point, but now he has moved back around him and right up on the back bumper of Brett Bodine.
We have had 9 different leaders and 14 lead changes in the first 1/4 of this race. That gives you an idea of how much competition we have had. The first leader, of course, was the pole sitter, Alan Kulwicki. But he, at the moment, is running back in the 19th position.
And, Bob, I think one of those leaders, we need to give a call to Jimmy Means, who led under the caution a couple of times. He stayed out there, which was very smart, because every time, if you lead a Winston Cup race, you get 5 bonus points. Here's Morgan Shepherd moving on the inside of Brett Bodine and taking over the 2nd position. But Jimmy Means in the Eureka vacuum cleaner car wisely stayed out there, led a couple of laps, and got those 5 bonus points, which could mean some good money for him at the end of the year.
As a matter of fact, our statistics indicate he led 2 laps on 2 different occasions, a total of 4. Jimmy Means, one of the leaders here in the first 4th of the race. Morgan Shepherd in the 33 car has moved into 2nd now, passing Brett Bodine, and now Morgan Shepherd sets his sights on the leader, Bill Elliott. Bodine is still in that 3rd spot, and Terry Labonte is 4th. The lead, meanwhile, Bill Elliott. He's at the start-finish line, and you can see there about a half a straightaway advantage for Bill Elliott as he was crossing the start-finish line as Morgan Shepherd came out of turn number 4.
About 2 1/10 seconds separates the 1st and 2nd place car. Elliott's car still just working very good wherever he wants to drive it. He's not abusing that car, even though he's turning some very fast laps, faster than most people thought they would be running here at this stage of the race.
Well, Bill Elliott has visited victory lane in the 1988 season. He was the winner of the race we televised in Bristol, Tennessee, and right now is in 5th position in the 1988 Winston Cup point standings going into this event. So Bill Elliott is certainly still in the hunt for the Winston Cup. Here's first coming out of the corner. And there is second, Morgan Shepherd coming out of the corner, and the stopwatch stops at 2.4 seconds. That's the interval between first and second.
So actually, Morgan is losing ground to Bill Elliott right now. Elliott must have gotten the signal that Shepherd had moved into second place, and he said, well, maybe I'll step it up a little bit.
And there is certainly no traffic to play a role in that factor, so it's just a fact that perhaps Elliott is pulling ahead a little bit. Morgan Shepherd substituting for Harry Gant this afternoon, and there has to be many similarities between drivers in a substitute role. Morgan Shepherd talked about his driving style compared to Gant.
In my opinion, Ned, I don't know that there's any difference because you've seen Harry run up against the wall and at the bottom of the track, and that's kind of my style. I run up against the wall, and wherever I can find a spot to make the car get around the racetrack, I think we both drive pretty much similar.
Morgan Shepherd, second in the Budweiser 500 at the moment.
Bob, I think one thing, the difference that there might be is that this is what they call a rear steer car. Morgan Shepherd likes front steer cars. That's all he builds and races with. But there's not that much of a difference in the feel of the car once you get it in there and set it up properly. And Morgan Shepherd knows how to set up a race car, and I'm sure that he worked very closely with Travis Carter and them in getting this car set up. But we also should point out that many times when Harry Gant has been here, he's a former winner here at Dover, and he has been the class of the field a lot of times. So Travis Carter and that crew know how to get a car around this racetrack.
Bill Elliott leads. Morgan Shepherd second, third Brett Bodine, fourth Terry Labonte, and fifth is Rusty Wallace. The tire wear has not been a serious problem to this point. We have seen indeed some blistered tires, but nothing that's created any kind of a problem. Here now is a quick back. Quick Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
One of the primary concerns among the competitors in the Winston Cup Garage recently has been tire wear. Tire wear is a direct result of increasing tire temperature. When a tire gets too hot, the tire will blister. In fact, the rubber will separate from the cord. That creates a serious problem on the racetrack for the competitors. Well, how do you keep tires from blistering? How do you minimize tire wear? Well, you can scuff tires. That means you put a tire on the car, run it a little bit, heat it up, bring it back in, take it off, and let it cool down. If you really want to bring a tire back down the temperature, you bring it in, take it off the car, and hose the tire down. Run water over these tires and get them to cool down very quickly. That'll allow the tire to cure, the rubber gets a little bit harder, and it minimizes tire wear when you put that tire back on the car. A few ways you can minimize tire wear and tire problems here in Winston Cup racing.
The top 10 as we once again take a break in the live coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. We'll be right back.
You want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX. No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
If you'd like a tour of the resort, just whistle. Brandell High School has a serious attitude problem, but they've got a new principal who fits right in.
Who do you think you are, Dirty Harry or somebody?
I want you to think of the school as a home away from prison.
If you're trying to reach me, I just cut your hand off.
I got another one.
James Belushi.
No more arson, robbery, no more!
Louis Gossett Jr., the principal.
School's in session all this month on Home Premiere.
If you're looking for a wide variety, excited about here in the first 152 laps of this race, they were on their feet just a moment ago when Morgan Shepherd, at number 33, took the lead from Bill Elliott, and this is how it occurred.
He just drove up right behind him. He caught him very quickly. Bob, he was running about 1 4/10 seconds behind, but in about 10 laps, he pulled up and went beside of him. They ran side by side for about a lap, and then Shepard was able to get traction off of the turn and pull by and take the lead.
Morgan Shepard is on Hoosier tires, and Bill Elliott is on the Goodyears. We have a good battle going on in the pack. Meanwhile, Brett Bodine, number 15, the number 11 car of Terry Labonte, and the 28 machine driven by Davey Allison.
And the 28 car of Davey Allison just moved around Terry Labonte as Brett Bodine laps on the outside of Rodney Combs, and Allison sets his sights now on Brett Bodine. Benny Parsons is in the pits for an unscheduled pit stop, or we say unscheduled. It's been a while since he's been in, but Benny had begun to slow a little bit on the racetrack. He was running right out there, certainly in the lead lap before he came in. He was in the 23rd position. We have about 26, 7 cars in the lead lap yet at this point, but Benny now will go at least 1 lap down.
Here comes Davey Allison now making a bid to take over the position held by Brett Bodine down the straightaway, and Davey Allison, the defending champion of this race, takes over the spot from Brett Bodine.
So Allison, another of those drivers that qualified on the Hoosier tires, and I'm sure is still running the Hoosier tires, beginning to work well for him.
Well, the attrition in this race has certainly not been a very major factor, because only 1 car has officially dropped out of competition. That's the number 23 car driven by Eddie Bierschwale, who is officially out of the race. Now here's a battle between 83 Lake Speed and 27 Rusty Wallace, and that is the battle for 3rd spot.
Speed, another of the drivers who's using Hoosier tires. He wins Kmart Oldsmobile, Rusty Wallace, and the Kodiak Pontiac.
We saw earlier in the open of the show that Rusty Wallace made a last-ditch bid to take the win away from Darrell Waltrip at the World 600 last weekend at Charlotte. He got at least the left side of the car down on the infield grass at the start-finish line, but could not take the lead, and Rusty Wallace settled for 2nd position in the World 600. He is 2nd, however, in the Winston Cup point standings going into today. Rusty Wallace. There's the leader, Morgan Shepard. He's approaching Darrell Waltrip. As you can see, Waltrip's number 17 car with some damage in the left one of the right rear of the car, caused by an incident he had with Mark Martin on the very first yellow flag caution stop that came out on lap number 25.
Waltrip certainly has, I'm sure, been a disappointment to himself here today, because he went into this race with a lot of confidence as a result of his win last week, and also knowing that it was going to be a thinking man's race. And he is one of those drivers that is very smart when it comes to approaching a race of this sort, but that early encounter in the pits perhaps dampened those spirits a little bit for him.
Well, obviously, Lake Speed's car is much faster than Bill Elliott's, at least here in this last lap, because Lake Speed has caught Bill Elliott and now maybe taking over that 2nd spot. Lake Speed goes to the inside of Bill Elliott in turn number 2, and Lake Speed moves to 2nd.
Well, he just motored right on around him, and that's sort of characteristic of the Hoosier tires. Once the Goodyears gets heated up, and here's Rusty Wallace coming by on the inside. We wonder if maybe Elliott is having a tire problem and has slowed his pace.
Well, that is certainly a possibility, because he has fallen from 2nd back to 4th here in just 1 lap.
Sterling Marlin is in the pits in the Piedmont Airlines Oldsmobile. He has that service and is on his way now, but we'll keep an eye on Bill Elliott and see if he comes in before too long.
Well, the last caution was on lap 111, and as we indicated, they can get 90 to 100 laps out of a tank full of fuel. So if we don't have any yellows and we don't have any tire problems, they will wait that long. So if we do have a stop by Bill Elliott here in the next few laps, it will be a pretty good indication of what he considers to be a problem with the car.
And Richard Petty coming into the pits in the STP Pontiac. His crew will go to the right side to change tires on that car. So here's Petty's pit stop now. You can see them changing the right side tires. And while they're making that, we'll say hello to Tom Mann, a member of their crew, who's resting at home after having heart surgery.
And we'll also make an announcement. The 30th anniversary open house of Richard Petty will be July 16th and 17th at Petty Enterprises in Level Cross, North Carolina. They're expecting something like 30,000 people to attend that event on the 16th and 17th of July. track in the STP Pontiac.
It was a 4-tire change, so it cost him at least 1 lap and maybe 2. And perhaps 2 as Morgan Shepherd went by him as he was coming out of the pits.
Shepherd leads this race. Lake Speed runs second. Rusty Wallace now third. Bill Elliott fourth. Davey Allison fifth. Brett Bodine sixth. Terry Labonte seventh. Eighth is Mark Martin. In ninth position is Jeff Bodine. And 10th is Michael Waltrip, who's having a good run.
In the 11th position is Bobby Allison. 12th is Ken Bouchard having a good run. Kenny Schrader is 13th. Buddy Baker 14th. Bill Parsons in the 15th position. And the car number 7 of Alan Kowicki is 16th. 17th is Dale Earnhardt. Dave Marcus is 18th. Dale Jarrett currently running in the 20th position.
And you can see that the leader, Morgan Shepherd, is approaching the number 4 car, which is being driven in a relief driver role by Tommy Ellis in substitution for Rick Wilson, who was injured last weekend in Charlotte. We'll be right back. Over this afternoon, pretty good breeze, but nevertheless the track temperature up around 104 degrees, and the temperature inside these cars somewhere around 110 degrees. At 171 laps complete, Morgan Shepherd in car number 33 leads this race, with Rusty Wallace running second, Lake Speed third, and Davey Allison running in fourth spot. And Rick Wilson, or rather Tommy Ellis, in the Rick Wilson car has gone a lap down, and so that means now that 21 cars are on the lead lap. And the next one to go down a lap will be the number 29 machine driven by Dale Jarrett.
Dale having a little trouble getting around Ricky Rudd. Finally does make that pass, but Morgan Shepherd is right there then to move on the inside of Dale Jarrett and put him a lap down.
So now 20 cars make that 19 cars on the lead lap, and the next one to go down a lap would be the 71 machine driven by Dave Marcus, who had a terrible crash last weekend in Charlotte.
You can see Richard Petty moving down on the inside of one of the cars there, and he does it with ease. He has 4 new tires on that car. Boy, it really makes a difference when you get new tires on a car, and he's moving right up now on Morgan Shepherd. He might just unlap himself. He's 2 laps down according to our calculations here, but with those new tires, he might be able to move around Morgan Shepherd and make up on those laps.
Richard Petty is right behind Morgan Shepherd, closing in ever so slowly on him. Morgan Shepherd, in my opinion, he and Bill Elliott have been the stars of the race here in the first 174 laps. And now Elliott, in the last few laps, has been dropping back. And Shepherd, at least for the moment, has the race in hand.
That car is working well. He's driving it well. He was leading the Bud 200 Busch Grand National race yesterday when the engine let go. So he certainly knows his way around this racetrack.
Yesterday's win by Bobby Hillin Jr. in the Grand National race made 12 different winners in as many races this year.
Petty has been able to catch him, but Bob, his tires are beginning to heat up a little bit now, so I don't know if he's going to be able to move around him or not. As Shepherd moves now on the outside of Benny Parsons. Benny has already made a green flag pit stop, and Darrell Waltrip, boy, he just blows him off. He just moves that car wherever he wants to go and takes off.
He sure is looking strong. Darrell Waltrip going another lap down to the leaders. Morgan Shepherd is from Conover, North Carolina. He has only 2 Winston Cup victories in his career.
One of those is the first one in Martinsville, Virginia. The other one coming at Atlanta, Georgia.
That was in March of 1986. That was his most recent victory on the Winston Cup Tour. Bobby Allison in car number 12 has made a pretty good move in his car, and we have him running 11. Ken Schrader in number 25, who is right behind, shown in 12th position. A report from Pit Central. Larry?
Bob, here is our leader chart after 150 laps, and you were just mentioning about Bobby Allison. Now, at lap 150, Bobby was running in 8th position. Now he's in 11th. Again, it doesn't mean all that much at this point in the race. What is the pinpointed position? But as you can see, Bobby Allison seemed to be struggling with that car for the first 100 laps of the race. He has moved up into the top 10. He's been running solidly since then. Alan Kawicki, we commented about him, about how solid, how much confidence he has. Well, he ran up front within the first 50, 75 laps of the race. And then he's dropped back to a very conservative 19th position, but he's still on the lead lap and still very much in this race. The leaders in the consistency race for the first 150 laps of this one, Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, your current outstanding leader, and Phil Elliott.
And now the race is at 180 laps, and there isn't a whole lot of difference between now and the report at 150 laps.
Morgan Shepherd now is about 4 2/10 seconds ahead of the second place car. Well, no, they're showing Rusty Wallace in second place, and Lake Speed is right behind him, so it's about 4 1/10 seconds. Rusty Wallace in second place behind Morgan Shepherd.
Well, the seats that these drivers sit in during the afternoon of competition in Winston Cup are made for protection and also for comfort. And for a report on that, we go to an ESPN NASCAR Track Facts. Track Facts are brought to you by the Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
There have been many innovations over the years with regard to drivers' seats. The seat to my right, the oldest in use, developed by Banjo Matthews and patterned after a Ford truck seat. Many drivers throughout the years, Pearson, Yarborough, Junior Johnson, have won a lot of races driving in this kind of seat, and Dale Earnhardt still uses it today. Very soft and cushiony and very symmetrical. Now on my left, a newer model. This is a specially built racing seat. Has contoured sides to protect the ribs on both the left and right side. Not very soft or cushiony, very firm for the driver. And the newest innovation, this seat you're seeing now, developed by Dennis Conner, crew chief for Kenny Strader. It has leg extenders on it. These leg extenders are used to protect the knees and lower legs to try to prevent what happened to Ricky Rudd at Charlotte, and of course what happened to Neil Bonnet a year ago at Charlotte. These extenders, the newest innovation in seat technology for the driver.
We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon for our live coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. Morgan Shepherd leads.
Presenting a superbly engineered high-performance machine. One designed to outperform anything the competition has ever introduced. With exceptional starting power, smooth acceleration, and outstanding fuel efficiency. What do we call this masterpiece of engineering? Bosch Platinum. The ultimate spark plug with the advantages of pure platinum. You've never driven anything like it.
Available at Kmart and other fine auto parts stores.
This is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks on the road. And this is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks to the road, where it ultimately responds through the contact patch of its Goodyear Eagle tires. The exclusive tires chosen by Ferrari for every Testarossa sold in America. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Larry Newbert, Dick Berggren, and Jerry Punch back at Dover Downs International Speedway for the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. And there are 17 cars on the lead lap, and there you see first, and there you see 17th. Dale Earnhardt is going a lap down. Morgan Shepherd, the leader of the race, has just gone inside of Dale in turn number 2, and Earnhardt goes a lap down. Let's go to the pit area.
You know, the Morgan Shepherd car he's driving today is the Skull Bandit team that's normally driven by Harry Gannon. They have had their trouble the past couple of years. In fact, they have been running only twice at the finish of the first 10 races this year. They have not had a top 5 finish since October 1986 as Lake Speed entered pit road. They haven't had a top 5 finish since October of 86. But the best run they had all year was at Martinsville, Virginia. And Harry Gannon seems to be the fast in the field up there. This is the car they had at Martinsville. It's their favorite car that Morgan is driving today. And what's even more impressive about Morgan is that when Morgan Shepherd came in on lap 109 for that pit stop, he did not change tires. The tires he has on the car have been there for almost 115 laps. So Morgan Shepherd, very impressive, and Travis Hunter and the group really have the car dialed in.
Lake Speed made a pit stop going back out into the action, and out on the racetrack, the car number 30, Michael Waltrip, has moved around Bill Elliott. Here's Bobby Allison coming into the pits. These would be scheduled pit stops for these drivers.
Bobby Allison in the Miller High Life car, stopping and getting a tire change on the right side of the machine. Bobby was running 9th when he came into the pits. Our stopwatch is on him. We'll see how long it takes the Stavola Brothers crew to change tires apparently only on the right side and get the car filled up with fuel. It's 15.2 seconds, and Bobby Allison goes back in competition. Now we have other pit stops being made as Dale Earnhardt comes through pit road, and will stop to let the Richard Childress crew go to work on that car. Remember, he had gone a lap down just before he came in for the stop. Right side rubber on that car also being replaced.
Bouchard, the leading rookie contender, also on pit road, making a pit stop as Earnhardt gets his service and heads back out into the action.
Just a 2-tire stop for Dale Earnhardt, and he gets the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet backed up to speed as J.D. McDuffie in car number 70 passes by on the high side. Neil Bonnet, number 75, has struggled all day, but still out there in competition.
Brett Bodine coming into the pits, and Dale Jarrett in the pits in the Hardee's Oldsmobile for a change of right side tires. He's sitting there ready for him to change that, wanting to go. You can see how anxious the driver gets inside the car. Here's Rusty Wallace coming into the pits. And let's go to Jerry Punch for this pit stop.
Routine pit stop for Rusty Wallace. Jimmy Maycar has the right front tire off there. He dodges the jack beneath the car and will clean the windshield. Harold Elliott now, the engine man, checking the left side tires. So 2 fresh Hoosier tires, 1 can of fuel, and a good pit stop. 15.2 seconds. Great stop for the Kodiak crew. 13.2 seconds.
Rusty Wallace back out on the racetrack, relinquishing his second position. There's Davey Allison passing beside him, and the number 55 Crown Oldsmobile. Skoll also sponsorship on that machine, driven by Bill Parsons, is in for a 2-tire stop. And that car moves away from the pit road. Fine pit work is going on here. Michael Waltrip in car number 30 is into the pit area, and he is one guy that we haven't talked about too much today, but he was running in the top 10 when he came in for his stop. There he is, Michael Waltrip in the country. Oh, and he still has the jack attached. Here he finally drops it. The jack was attached to the car when Michael began to pull away. Here it is again.
They laid it down, but the man didn't get it out from under the car completely as Michael moved away too quick. And the tire did run over that jack. That could very easily cut a tire. So we'll see if they are going to black flagging. That is a violation, running over the jack. So they have the black flag out for Michael Waltrip. A very unfortunate situation because he had just passed Bill Elliott for the 5th position before he made that pit stop.
Yeah, it certainly is a bad break for Michael, who is really strong here in the early going.
Bob, they have a welded on the side of the car where the jack goes. It's a round piece of metal about 1.5 inches in diameter that comes down about 1 inch from the frame of the car, and that's where they put the jack under. Here's Michael coming back into the pit. Mark is in, but they put the jack under to jack it up, and when they let it down, it simply didn't get down past that spot where they jacked it up, and it jerked the jack out of the fellow's hand.
Well, apparently no problems of that nature here with the Mark Martin stop. They're getting the fuel in the car now. The jack is down, and Mark Martin rolls away once again in the Stroh Light car, owned by the Jack Roush Racing Team.
Now Bill Elliott comes down pit road in the car number 9.
Bill Elliott and Ernie and the boys will go to work on that car. Moving to the right side, changing the rubber, putting fuel in the left rear of the race car. Windshield being wiped off. And Jeff Bodine is also in the Levi Garrett car. The work completed on the Bill Elliott machine. He's back out of the racetrack.
Terry Labonte had made a pit stop earlier while we were away on a commercial break, so these are routine pit stops. Most of them just taking on right side tires. Buddy Baker gets down for number 88 as Brad Notsinger goes out of the pits, and there's the leader, Morgan Shepherd. He's yet to make a pit stop.
With all of the pit stops that have been made, Morgan Shepherd retains the lead, but he has not come in for a stop yet. Be waiting for him, but at the moment Morgan Shepherd elects to stay out with 203 laps completed.
Of course, he'll be due for a pit stop for gas if nothing else. Now remember, he didn't change tires the last time that they were in. Travis Carter says that the tires look good, and apparently they were, because he was able to get back up, but apparently he's out of gas now. He's slowing down. He might have run one lap too far, but he was coming into the third turn when he ran out of gas. Let's go to Dick Berggren for that pit stop.
Well, he waited 12 more laps with lake speed, and here he is now, Morgan Shepherd. The engine is running, so if he ran it out of fuel, he got it going again on his own. Engine is up to full storm. He's got a little bit in the left rear. That's it. They've got right side tires just about on the car now. One of them rolling away. Fuel just about in. Boy, they want to make sure they get every drop in. That's where the damage is on this car. Pulling it up. He's got a full tank, and there goes Morgan. Wicki still not yet in. He has not taken his pit stop.
Good tire on pit road, and the stop by Morgan Shepherd was 17.1 seconds. Now, if he did run out of fuel, he was fortunate in two areas. First of all, that it ran out on the backstretch, and secondly, that this is a high-banked racetrack, and he could coast into the pits.
Yes, he did, and of course, he was pitting a little bit up towards the fourth turn. That was Kyle Petty that was coming out of the pits right behind Morgan, had to dodge that tire. Here's Davey Allison coming into the pits. This would be a routine pit stop for Davey. Let's follow him into the pits and see what they do. He's one of the drivers running Hoosier tires, and they too are going to the right side. And of course, they'll fill it up with the gasoline. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Davey Allison's crew. That's Tony Fry's putting the right side tires on. That's Robert Yates with the jacket. As Allison sits the Havoline Ford on the jacket. The defending winner of the Budweiser 500 down off the jacket. Good pit stop for that crew. Two right side tires and fuel for Davey Allison.
Very good stop for Davey Allison. Kulwicki is also in the pit area. He was the pole sitter for this race. They're changing rubber on the right side of that car. We believe the only leader who has not come in, Rusty Wallace. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, they also made a switch change in Kulwicki's car. They turned the right bolt on it. That means he couldn't be handling as well as he'd like to. Trying to get all the fuel in, and they've got it in now.
Rusty Wallace did make a stop on lap number 193, and we're now at 2:08, so Wallace is the leader of the race and has made a pit stop. So there's Rusty on the backstretch. The pace continues in the Budweiser 500, and we'll be back with more of our live coverage right after this. Over Downs International Speedway, where Rusty Wallace in the Kodiak Pontiac car number 27 has the lead with 209 laps completed. Running second is Morgan Shepherd, third is Davey Allison, fourth is Lake Speed, fifth is Mark Martin, sixth is Bill Elliott, seventh Terry Labonte, and running in eighth position at the moment is Brett Bodine. The number 55 car has had its problems, and Phil Parsons has gone behind the wall.
And this is a tough break for Phil Parsons. Of course, he won the Winston 500 at Talladega and had moved up in the point standings and was looking forward to a good run here today. And those Winston Cup points are so valuable. And he being the second car out of the race, that means he's going to finish far, far down the line, like in 39th position.
Yeah, again, the attrition here has been very low, almost the halfway point of this race. And Phil Parsons, only the second car to officially drop out of competition. The first was Eddie Bierschwale back in the early going. Now the 27 car of Rusty Wallace approaches the 25 car driven by Ken Schrader, and Schrader will soon go a lap down, we believe.
Rusty setting a pretty good pace out there right now. He had a tremendous pit stop, 13 and 2/10 seconds. That's what put him in the lead. He was running second to Morgan Shepherd before that exchange of green flag pit stops. He moves on the inside of Ken Schrader now to put him one lap down. But Schrader's not going to give up that easily.
The slower car is ahead of this group. That's the number 2 car driven by Ernie Irvin. The 25 car slides high on the racetrack, and Rusty Wallace does indeed put a lap on Ken Schrader, but will Schrader battle back? Yes, indeed.
He had the momentum coming off at the turn and pulled right back up on the outside of Rusty Wallace. But look at Wallace go through the turn. That car is sticking right down on the inside. The 25 car trailer won't stick down that low, and now he has a clear-cut pass.
Let's go to Pit Central and recap the most recent series of pit stops. Larry?
Well, Bob, they spanned about 15 laps, which is a little unusual, but that was because Morgan Shepherd went so far on that load of fuel. As you can see, the stops are from lap 190 to 204. It was in this series of pit stops that Rusty Wallace asserted himself, took the lead he now has, and we have had a confirmation through the in-car radio monitoring the crews that Morgan Shepherd did run out of fuel on that pit stop. But the crew, Travis Carter and crew, did an excellent job of that Skull Bandit getting Morgan out. He lost only one position. Look at the consistency among Bill Elliott, Brett Bodine, and Lake Speedville. Interesting race driver, interesting race, Lake Speed. We haven't talked much about him, but he is very much right in the hunt.
Yeah, indeed he is, and so is Mark Martin, for that fact, who is now in 5th spot, even with the damage on the car that he sustained in the pit road incident, lap number 25 with Darrell Waltrip. But the pace being set right now by Rusty Wallace. Here's a battle for position. The number 44 car, driven by Sterling Marlin. Behind him is the 15 of Brett Bodine and the 11 car of Terry Labonte. Well, let's go to the pit area and find out why Phil Parsons is out of this race.
Well, a tough afternoon for Phil Parsons. Phil, what put you out of the race?
Well, Jerry, we're not sure. Something happened to the engine. It probably dropped a valve or something.
The car looked awfully strong early on. You went underneath it and took the lead and had to feel pretty good. Your car running awfully well.
Well, it really was. And the very last caution, we got a real loose set of tires. So I was just trying to save the tires, make sure we didn't tear one up until we could get another caution flag, and then boom, it broke.
The tires look pretty good. All the concerns everyone had haven't materialized thus far. Your Goodyear tires running awfully well.
That's what they told me on the radio, that they looked real good. You know, I just tried not to really bury the thing down in a corner, just to try to save them as much as we could, and we didn't have any trouble. So hopefully it'll be a good day without any tire trouble.
Well, the man who won it at Talladega doesn't do it today. Has trouble. He's out of it here at Dover. Phil Parsons.
The lead held by Rusty Wallace. And Rusty went into this race second in the point standings. He has had a very consistent year so far in 1988 in the Winston Cup battle. He has not visited victory lane so far this year, but his second place in the point standings is a result of his being very consistent. But he is in a battle for that Winston Cup. We asked him about it.
Well, we fought back and finally got it. I'll tell you, we're only 71 behind Earnhardt now, and Ed, we were a long way behind him before the Charlotte race. It's going to be probably this way the rest of the year. You know, Earnhardt's going to be up, we're going to be down, we're going to be down, he's going to be up. It's going to be back and forth, and there's a lot of cars behind me that's got a shot to win this thing. You know, Sterling Marlin's running great all year long, so we just need consistency. If we keep consistency going and stay up front, we might win this thing.
And Bill Elliott, an unscheduled pit stop for him. They're going to the left side on the Coors Ford. He was in not too long ago and changed right side tires, but this time they're having to change left side tires. Good pit stop gets him back out of the action.
Let's look at the point standings now that Rusty Wallace was referring to. As you can see, he's second to Dale Earnhardt, but bear in mind right now Earnhardt is a lap down on the field, and Rusty Wallace is the leader of this race. Sterling Marlin is also a lap down. He's third in Winston Cup points. Terry Labonte is still in the hunt on the lead lap here this afternoon, and Bill Elliott, that you saw in 5th position, has just made an unscheduled pit stop. So that's the way the point standings are, and the way the standings here this afternoon are. Rusty Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison, Lake Speed, and Mark Martin. Those are the top 5 at the end of 225 laps here at Dover. We are back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware for the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. And with 229 laps completed, the leader is Rusty Wallace. And to summarize what we have done so far today, well, we have had 3 caution periods, but 2 of those were from NASCAR, allowing the teams to come in and check the tire wear. The only spin that we have had, and that involved no wall contact, came on lap number 111 when Jimmy Horton spun right in front of the leaders down in corner number 4. 2 cars out of the race, Eddie Fitzwail and Phil Parsons. And for more on the race highlights so far, let's go to Pit Central.
Well, Bob, early in the race, the competition was pretty spirited. It was 2 and 3 abreast at times. There is Phil Parsons, who was destined to drop out of this race, as we saw a couple minutes ago, taking one of the early leads with a gaggle of race cars around him. Pole sitter Alan Kawicki drops back. This is perhaps the most frightening moment of the day when Jimmy Horton spun in front of the then 2 leaders, Morgan Shepherd and Bill Elliott, but no incident involved. Later in the race, Dale Earnhardt almost loses control as he motored through turns 1 and 2. Michael Waltrip and Alan Kawicki were nearby. Waltrip missed that one. This incident later, Waltrip couldn't avoid. He was involved alone as the jack was still connected as he made his exit from the pit lane. Morgan Shepherd dominated this race for about 100 laps until this. He stretched the pit stop just a bit too far. He ran out of fuel, but it happened on the high banks, turn 3 and 4. He was able to coast back into the pit. After a quick load of fuel and a right side tire change, Morgan Shepherd was back out, running in second position, giving the lead to Rusty Wallace, who holds it to this point in the race. Rusty Wallace, who had a dramatic morning. They had an engine change. The last thing this morning, that was the last car to pull from the garage area and make its way silently to the grid. They just barely got in this race, and Rusty is giving it a big ride.
All right, Larry, thank you. Neil Bonnet is coming in for another pit stop, and this is one of many that he has had during the afternoon, and Jerry Punch is right there.
Left side tires in the Valvoline Pontiac this time for Neil Bonnet. Remember, now Neil Bonnet pitted out of sequence before, so he pitted a lot earlier than the other cars, and he will be coming in just about now for fuel and left side rubber. He is, of course, having the Hoosier tires on the car. Left side tires are on. He's off the jack, and Neil Bonnet gets back in gear and comes down pit road.
Bonnet roars back into competition with Valvoline Pontiac. But he is several laps down to the field because of numerous pit stops that he had in the first quarter of this race. Rusty Wallace is the leader, and we are approaching the halfway point. We've completed 234 laps, and of course the halfway point is 250. Morgan Shepherd is second, Davey Allison is third, Lake Speed fourth, Mark Martin fifth, Brett Bodine sixth, Terry Labonte seventh. 8th is the number 10 car driven by Ken Bouchard, and 9th is Ken Schrader a lap down.
And Ken Schrader is coming into the pits right now for a pit stop that probably would be unscheduled. They're going to the right side of that car to change the tires. Of course, they fill it up with gas and will clean the windshield for him while he's in.
So the Rick Hendrick team working on the Bolger Chevrolet. They're now making a tire change on the left side of that car.
We saw when Rusty Wallace was lapping him a little bit earlier that the car was skating pretty high in the turn, so they figured that they needed to go ahead and put rubber all the way around. So he has that service now and heads back out, but he'll find himself at least a couple more laps down.
So now there are 8 cars on the lead lap, with Ken Schrader having to come in for a pit stop and losing another lap. There are 8 cars on the lead lap at the moment. There's the leader, number 27, driven by Rusty Wallace. And the best battle on the racetrack is just behind the leader as we zoom in to find that the 33 car of Morgan Shepherd and the 28 machine of Davey Allison are very close together on the racetrack for second.
And they're gaining on Rusty Wallace, who's leading the race. Shepherd right now is about 1 3/4 of a second behind Rusty Wallace.
Second and third, Morgan Shepherd and Davey Allison.
Allison has run a very good conservative race. He's run hard, but yet he has not abused his car or his tires and has stayed right in contention all afternoon. But he figures maybe near the halfway point is when he needs to start making the move.
Rusty Wallace approaching the 75 car of Neil Bonnet, and now is approaching the number 11 car of Terry Labonte. He has already put Ken Bouchard, who was 8th a lap down, and now Terry Labonte, who is running 7th, is about to go a lap down. There's a lot of traffic ahead of these guys. We'll watch Rusty Wallace's maneuvering here coming out of turn number 2. He'll go to the inside, or at least look inside, going down the backstretch. Does not make an attempt now to move past Terry Labonte and put him a lap down. So the race settling down into a pattern as we near the halfway point, and Rusty Wallace is the leader at Dover, Delaware. Sterling Marlin has visited pit road, now moves back out onto the race course. There is the leader, Rusty Wallace, and he has passed Terry Labonte, and so there are only now 6 cars that are on the lead lap, and the 6th position at the moment is being held by Brett Bodine. Well, Rusty Wallace is certainly setting a good pace. On the other hand, Ned, it appears to us as if Morgan Shepherd may be closing in on Rusty Wallace.
Yes, he is. He is picking up, it seems, about a 1/10 of a second per lap. We'll talk him as he come by this time. A moment ago, he was 1 3/4 seconds behind. He's only 1 1/4 second behind now, and Rusty Wallace is right back up on the back bumper of the 6th place car, Brett Bodine, about to put English down.
He indeed is. We go down the back stretch and follow them through the 3rd corner here, and Rusty Wallace. Again, there is traffic ahead of Brett Bodine. Rusty will be very careful here, maneuvering his car out of the 4th corner and going to the inside. That is Buddy Baker right ahead of Brett Bodine, but he goes a lap down. So we now have only 5, make that, 5 cars on the lead lap. And in 5th position is the number 6 car, driven by Mark Martin.
And we understand that Jimmy Means has gone to the garage area, so he will be the 3rd driver out of the race, the Eureka vacuum cleaner. And we also noticed that he had Alka-Seltzer as an associate sponsor on his car here this week.
Now, Jimmy brought the car through pit road here a few minutes ago, and there was some smokes coming from that car. He drove it behind the wall, so he could be our 3rd car officially out of the race. Number 25 car of Ken Schrader continues to run in competition, but he is a couple of laps down. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, gentlemen, a couple of laps ago, Schrader made an unscheduled pit stop. I'm with Dennis Carter, the crew chief. And Dennis, what's the reason for the unscheduled stop?
We had a right rear tire equalized that caused a vibration in the car, so we had to stop and get all 4. Since we had just got right sides, the left side had too many laps to keep going on them.
Well, a tough break here for Kenny Schrader. He's now a couple of laps down.
And sometimes it's hard for the driver to tell when a tire equalizes which position on the car it is. And many times you will see them change all 4 tires when one does equalize. And as we said earlier, that is when the pressure on the inner tire that they run on the super speedway becomes equal with the outer tire.
Well, it appears as if Dale Earnhardt is about to go 2 laps down. There is Rusty on the high side of Dale Earnhardt. And Dale has really not been very competitive this afternoon. We talked about him being conservative, but this is being a little bit too conservative. Now he's 2 laps down the field.
This has not been one of Dale Earnhardt's better tracks over the years. He has never won here. He has led a lot of races here, but he's had a lot of bad luck on this racetrack as well. And so I think that maybe he decided he would run a little more conservative race today and see if he could finish in a high position. And certainly being 2 laps down doesn't put him out of it, because we have seen cars. I think Richard Petty many years ago here, Bob, was like 7 or 8 laps down and came back to win the race. So you never know.
Well, Jimmy Means, if he was behind the wall, has come out, but now we are experiencing a tire problem on that 52 Eureka vacuum cleaners Pontiac, and so Jimmy Means will have to get the right front changed on that car. We have reached the halfway point. Our Napa mid-race recap shows that at the halfway point, Rusty Wallace was in the lead, had led 44 of the 250 laps at an average speed of 123.16 miles an hour. He had pitted on laps 25, 81, 110, and 195. 3 caution periods for a total of 16 laps, but the only spin that we have had this afternoon has been with Jimmy Horton. He did not touch the wall. We've had 11 leaders and 17 lead changes. 40 cars started, and only 3 have dropped out of competition. Eddie Bierschwale is out. 55, Phil Parsons is out of the race. Now 52, Jimmy Means we thought was out of the race, but indeed he is still out there in competition. So an amazing 2 cars have only dropped out of competition.
That is amazing, because this is one of the tougher tracks on the circuit. They call it the Monster Mile, and rightly so, because it's not only tough on the drivers, it's tough on the equipment as well. And to have gone this far into the race and only have 2 in the garage area is quite a tribute, really, to the preparation of the cars and the mechanics who did it.
Well, we're going to see a battle for the lead here, in my opinion, in just a couple of laps, because indeed, the 2nd place, Morgan Shepherd, and 3rd place, Davey Allison, are closing in on Rusty Wallace. Let's go to pit road again. position on the racetrack. That's Rusty Wallace, but now Morgan Shepherd has indeed caught him and is only a couple of car lengths behind. And here comes Morgan to the inside to make a bid for the lead. He's got Darrell Waltrip in front of him.
And he had to back off just a little bit as Waltrip was right where he needed to go. And he'll have to make it again down on the inside, down in turn 1.
Boy, just a real strong race in the first half for Morgan Shepherd. He takes the lead from Rusty Wallace, and now Davey Allison in the 28 Ford is making a bid to take over second from Rusty Wallace. In turns number 3 and 4, we indeed have a new second-place runner. That is Davey Allison, and Rusty Wallace falls from first to third in a little over a lap.
Those cars are really hooked up. Shepherd, it seems it takes a while for that car to really get to going, Bob, after he makes a pit stop. But once he does get to going, he really goes. Of course, Davey Allison, as we said, he's just sort of sat back there and has ridden in the top 5 all afternoon and ready now to make a challenge for the lead.
Well, the second half of this race could be a real barn burner. We only have 5 cars on the lead lap, but those 5 have been very strong throughout the afternoon, and the first 3 here are in your screen, running very close together. Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison, and Rusty Wallace.
Of course, running in the 4th position is Leighton Speed, and Mark Martin is the other driver in the lead lap.
Dick Berggren has a report from pit road.
Well, Bob, what I want to show you is a tire that's gone the absolute distance. This is a right front off Sterling Marlin's car. And look at this. You can see the cord on the right side. But look at this. It's gone a full 172 laps. Now, we've seen a lot of competitors in the middle portion of this event come in with absolutely no tire problems. What this may suggest is up and down pit road, they are beginning to figure out how to deal with the tire situation. And this thing could turn out to be much more of a race than we thought it was going to be at the beginning.
And that's another factor that's going to contribute to what we believe is going to be an extremely competitive second half. Jerry Punch is also standing by on pit road.
Well, just a minute ago, Rusty Wallace lost the lead to Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd went by, and then, of course, Davey Allison went by. And I'm told that Rusty Wallace has been told by Barry Dotson and the crew here just to let him go. Don't race him. It's a long afternoon. We still have almost 240 laps to go. We don't want to abuse the car. Let him go. Rusty really had to bite his tongue, but he will listen to his crew chief and let him go, and it may pay dividends later on the day.
Well, an interesting strategy being employed here by Barry Dotson and the crew, allowing Rusty Wallace to fall back to 3rd position and being instructed to just let them go and set the pace for a while Rusty sits back and sees what these guys can do.
Might be a good strategy because there is a long way to go in this race yet. And as Brent Bodine comes down pit road, he was running in the 6th position, I believe. He was 1 lap off the pace. Rechecking in for right side tires on the Crisco Ford.
Recheck of the scoring has put the number 10 car of Ken Bouchard back on the lead lap, so there are 6. And here is Brent Bodine on pit road once again. He had fallen a lap down and now is going to lose another one on this unscheduled pit stop.
He gets very quick service from the Crisco Ford team. Gets back out into the action, but it's just about impossible to make a green flag pit stop, Bob, on this racetrack and not lose a lap. Even if you're only in the pits for 14 or 15 seconds, your slowdown time and getting back up to speed again, you're going to lose a lap.
And back up front, we see Morgan Shepherd crossing the line, completing lap number 265. But it's still a very close race between Morgan Shepherd and Davey Allison, and right there also is Rusty Wallace. There in the 3 coming down the backstretch.
Well, since Morgan Shepherd took the lead, Davey Allison has stayed close to him, but he is so far has not made an attempt to pass. He's moved a little closer to him now than he had been running before, and Rusty Wallace has been able to hang right in there with him, so he's not going to let him get out of his side if he can help it. And Terry Labonte comes down pit road in the Budweiser Chevrolet. This would be an unscheduled pit stop for him. It looks like they're going to the right side for tires on that car. Junior Johnson, you can see the owner with his foot up on the wall. Has the tires for the left side in case they change those, and they indeed will change the left side tires as well. So it's a 4-tire change for Terry Labonte.
Labonte was running in 9th position, whether 8th position, a lap down, and he too will go 2 laps down because of this stop, and it's going to be a rather lengthy one with the 4 tires changed. There, Terry Labonte is back underway and goes 167 laps completed at the Budweiser 500. The lead is held by Morgan Shepherd. ESPN Speed World on this Sunday afternoon. Live coverage of the Budweiser 500 Winston Cup race. That number 33 car there on your screen is the leader. That is Morgan Shepherd. And for those of you who are just tuning in, he is in a substitute role for Harry Gant, who was injured last weekend at the Coca-Cola World 600. The car right behind him is in second. That's Davey Allison. And here is Davey's dad, Bobby Allison, visiting pit road once again. And we're seeing, Ned, a lot of what I would call unscheduled pit stops here just in the last 10 laps.
Yes, we have seen a number of stops that we would consider unscheduled. And when we say unscheduled, that would mean that they have not gone a full gas stop. They're going to the right side to change tires on Bobby Allison's Miller Buick. Let's see if they're going to change the left side. I don't think so. No, just right side tires. But yes, the pit stops have been very staggered. Normally when they make regular pit stops, the drivers all come in within about 5 or 10 laps. Dale Jarrett is in up on the upper end of pit road, getting a 4-tire change on the Hardee's Oldsmobile.
So the number 12 car gets out ahead of the leader, Morgan Shepherd, in car number 33. There are at the moment 6 cars that are on the lead lap, and this race has been a very safe one to this point. And look at this, Ernie Irvin's radiator appears to be leaking as a whole bunch of water is coming from that car, but they put the hood down on the Irvin car and sent it back out there.
He had been in for several laps and had the hood up on the car, and he was fitting right in front of Dale Jarrett, and Jarrett had to make a little extra maneuver to get around him after he made his pit stop.
It's been a very safe race to this point with only 3 caution periods, and 2 of those were from NASCAR, and they threw a couple of caution flags to allow the cars to come in and check their tire wear. Close battle for the lead here now as Davey Allison is right there on the back bumper of Morgan Shepherd. Bobby Hillen Jr. is right ahead of Morgan Shepherd as they head into turn number 3. And Bobby Hillen we show in 13th position. And Rusty Wallace is also here in the picture. That's the car right behind Davey Allison. He is running in 3rd position. So the first 3 cars are running very close together on the racetrack.
And boy, they're handling the traffic well, Bob. They're just scooting in and out wherever they need to go, just low, high, or wherever they need to pass the traffic. They're having no problems with it.
The number 78 car is being driven this afternoon by Jay Summers from Sterling Heights, Michigan. That is the young man, only 20 years old, who is driving in his first Winston Cup race here this afternoon. He's the guy that won $5 million in the lottery and decided to spend part of that money to buy a Winston Cup team and to be a driver on the Winston Cup circuit. The 83 car, driven by Lake Speed, has come in for a pit stop. They're changing rubber on the left side of that car.
One crew member came around to check the rubber on the right side. Dick Bergman is there.
Hey, this is awful early. He was last in on lap 191, so he didn't even make 100 laps. He made 90 laps, and that's it on that tank of fuel. Too soon. They really are.
So we may be seeing some tire wear that we have not seen in the first half of this race. Dale Earnhardt is also coming in for a pit stop. Rusty Wallace appears to be out of gas. There he is, low on the racetrack between turns 3 and 4, headed for pit road. Rusty is coming in. He appears to be able to make it to his pit area. We'll check to see whether the car is running or not as we go to Jerry Punch.
Rusty Wallace brings the car in, and it is not running. Apparently, Rusty is maybe out of gas. They ran the car 85 laps, and they ran the car 85 laps the last stop when they pitted, and they had calculated to come in this time by exactly 85 laps, but the car was not running as it came down pit road. They have filled it full of fuel, changed left side tires, and they are spraying out the car. Now they have it running, and it's moving slowly, so slowly. Now he catches fire and moves down pit road.
So Rusty Wallace gambles perhaps just a little too much as the car runs out of fuel, but he's all right now and getting back up to speed, headed toward turn number 2. And Ken Bouchard, the number 10 car, which was running in 6th position, has also made a pit stop, and so he goes a lap down.
For Rusty Wallace, only going 80-some laps there on that tank of fuel. Maybe they didn't get it filled up the last time when he was in. Mark Martin coming down pit road now. Mark was shown in the 5th position, still in the lead lap. And Stroh's Light Ford, actually, he had moved up to 3rd after after the pit stop of Rusty Wallace and Lake Speed.
There is Mark Martin. You can see the damage there on the left front of the race car that was occurred very, very early in the race. As a matter of fact, on lap 25, when NASCAR threw the first yellow to allow the crews to check their tires, he and Darrell Waltrip collided as pit road was very busy on that first stop. However, that Stroh's Light Ford has really been running quite well. It was on the lead lap for quite a while, but now goes a lap down, of course, due to this pit stop. Now the lead still held by Morgan Shepherd and right behind Davey Allison. And those two are the only ones that haven't pitted recently, so they're the only two cars at the moment that are on the lead lap. The number 97 car, driven by Rodney Combs, is very slow on the racetrack. And you can see that there is also some smoke coming from that car as he heads toward turn number 3. Rodney Combs in car number 97.
He gets it down on the low side of the track, trying to keep it down on the apron in case there is oil coming out of the car, so he would not get it up in the racing groove.
Well, if we throw a yellow here, and I'm not sure that we are, that of course will be a determination made by the NASCAR officials as to whether there was oil put down on the racetrack. There is no indication that we will get a yellow. I was going to say if we did, that will certainly be a break for Morgan Shepherd and Davey Allison, who have not pitted recently. There they are, the first two. We have a crash up in turn 2. Crash in turn number 2.
Car number 11 is one of them.
The number
41, I beg your pardon.
That's Joe Boer. And the number 15 car also, I believe, Brett Bodine is involved in this crash.
The 41 car, the same color as Terry Labonte's, and a 41. I thought for a moment it was Terry Labonte, but it indeed was the Joe Boer car.
There's quite a bit of damage sustained there on the front end by Brett Bodine. There's another one of the guys who had run very, very strong in the first 150 laps or so. There is Rodney Combs, who has nursed his sick car into the pit area, but we do now have a yellow, and as we indicated, that yellow is going to very definitely help the two that were running up front because they were in need of a pit stop and now get it under yellow. Everybody else has had to come in on the green, so a big break for Morgan Shepherd and for Davey Allison. 289 laps are completed, and the fourth caution flag of the afternoon flies over Dover Downs International Speedway.
That car number 41 that was involved with Brett Bodine being driven by Joe Boer. Here's pit stops coming up. Ronnie Thomas, that car belongs to him, and he qualified that car. Let's go to Jerry Punch in the pit.
Well, Davey Allison on the top, and of course Morgan Shepherd on the bottom getting their pit service. Those cars, left side tires on both those cars. They will get a chance to get in and get some fresh rubber and fuel in the cars during this caution flag. And they're going to the right side there for car number 33. That's the car of Morgan Shepherd. As they're changing those tires, everyone on pit road as it gets very, very crowded here in the pits. Those cars getting tire changes, trying to get off of pit road. These cars keep coming down. Tough braking, and Morgan Shepherd is moving down pit road, and we'll see Davey Allison's car trying to make his move.
Everybody is being very careful on pit road to make sure that they don't have any collisions and any problems like we had last weekend in Charlotte when Bud Moore was struck. Everybody being very conservative, getting in and out of the pits, realizing that we are under caution, and even if they get out one position ahead of somebody else or behind them, it is going to make that much difference. So you can see the cars being moved out of pit road now as the number 15 car of Brett Bodine remains on pit road with a significant amount of damage in the front end. We'll be right back after this. The hand here at Dover Downs International Speedway for ESPN Speed World, our live coverage. And 292 laps are in the books with the caution flag out, and this is why we are under caution.
Brett Bodine and Joe Boer tangle off turn 2. And you can see they can't get apart as they come around. Jimmy Means goes down to the inside.
Brett Bodine's car received some major damage in the front end. He has been along pit road for quite a few laps and now is behind the wall. Jerry Punch is right there with a report on the repairs.
Well, they're working on the car number 15 of Brett Bodine, and we'll try to get a comment up here from Brett. He still sits in the car. Brett, exactly what happened out there?
Well, the 41 car, Joe Boer, Rusty and I were going around the outside of him. He just lost it. Rusty made it through the hole before it closed up, and I didn't quite make it.
Well, they're going to try to work on the car. They have a hole in the dry sump tank for Bud Moore, who's sitting at home chewing his fingers and chewing the back of Bud. They're going to try to get it fixed and get him back out. Brett's still in the car. It ain't over yet, as they say. And Brett Bodin's going to try to get back out and finish it today.
Well, it's been a good run for Brett Bodine before that little incident occurred with Joe Boer. But now major repairs will have to be made to that car before it can get back in competition. Well, some auto racing today here on ESPN, and next Sunday, look at this, a triple header, as ESPN will be in Le Mans, France for a report on the 24 hours. In fact, updates throughout the day at 12:20 Eastern Time in the afternoon. Next Sunday, the Grand Prix of Canada Formula One race from Montreal, and then we'll be around at 4 o'clock Eastern Time for a report for live coverage, rather, of the Budweiser 400 Winston Cup race from Riverside, California. So a big triple header next Sunday here on ESPN. We remain under caution in the Budweiser 500, cleaning up the accident involving Joe Boer and Brett Bodine. So we'll take another break and be right back to Dover. And resume our Budweiser 500, the lead being held by the number 33 car driven by Morgan Shepherd. In second is Davey Allison there in car number 28. Third would be Alan Kowicki, and these cars, by the way, are a lap down. Only two remain on the lead lap. Fourth is Mark Martin, and in fifth position would be Alan, the number 4 car driven by Tommy Ellis. So the green comes out once again on lap number 295. Now, Dale Earnhardt was the first car there behind the pace car up in the higher group, but he is, according to our statistics, 3 laps down.
But he's caught out front there, and he would like to see a caution to get one of those laps back.
Leaders coming through the main stretch and passing on the high side, the number 68 car driven by Derek Cope.
And trouble back in turn 1.
We have a car smoking badly. That's Michael Waltrip. He didn't crash, didn't hit anything, but boy, a huge puff of smoke from that Country Time race car, and he goes slowly down the backstretch, and Dale Earnhardt is going to get a lap back as the caution comes out. The race to the flag, and Davey Allison is going to have the lead.
Allison passed Morgan Shepherd, but Earnhardt did get one of his 3 laps back, so he'll only be 2 laps down now.
Alan Kowicki came close to getting a lap back, but could not pass Davey Allison. He was ahead of Morgan Shepherd when they crossed the line, but could not get the lap back. And so Dale Earnhardt now will be able to encircle the entire racetrack and catch up with the back of the field, and now be only 2 laps down. Michael Waltrip comes in. Boy, just a huge puff of smoke came from that car. Here's Dick Bergman.
Well, they got the hood up on this thing. Going to take a look at it. But when you see that amount of smoke, ordinarily, it's a history-making event. There's going to be no more racing on this particular day. But they're not going to give up. The engine's silent, but they're looking all over, hoping it's just some kind of a hose or a line or something that's gone wrong. But Mike Waltrip's got the window down as if he knows this is the end.
Well, our hats off to Michael Waltrip, who was very competitive before the problem occurred at lap number 297. And a good job of driving by everybody behind him, because the visibility down at turn number 1 was very poor because of the smoke coming from that number 30 car. Back in a moment after this. The Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs International Speedway is being brought to you by the Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. By Pronto, featuring quality auto parts at lower prices. And by Kodak 35mm cameras for the best pictures of your life. We now have 198 more laps to go. We are under caution, although the field is being given the 1 more lap signal, and this is why we are under caution. Watch for the puff of smoke from the yellow car right there. And you can see the smoke beginning to pour from that car. And by the time he got into turn number 1, it was a major problem.
Yes, it was, but Michael Waltrip, of course, who's driving the Country Time Lemonade Pontiac, got the car very high on the racetrack and out of the racing group.
And in the pit area, Michael Waltrip will tell us what happened.
Well, what did happen, Mike?
Broke a ride, knocked the bottom out of the motor. You know, it's a shame. We had taken the Country Time Pontiac up into the top 5 at one point. Strong car, short day.
It looks like they're running an awful hard pace. Are they running too hard, Mike?
No, I don't think so. You know, the guys, when they throw the green, really go, and then that got me a little bit behind, but I would pace myself, and as they run 20 or 30 laps, I'd catch them just like we were hoping to.
And they're going to run some more laps right now as Harold Kinder gets ready to display the green.
Yeah, indeed, it was a very nice race for Mike Waltrip while it lasted. and there will be others. Well, we see a 3 abreast restart here as the green comes out once again, and Davey Allison leads Morgan Shepherd and Rusty Wallace. Now, Wallace is a lap down, but he's trying desperately to get one of the laps back.
Bill Elliott made a pretty bold move down on the inside. He'd like to get one of his laps back as well. On the last restart, I'm sure that some of the fans wondered about Dale Earnhardt being up in St. Augustine, and he was first laps down. However, we checked with the NASCAR official, Dick Beatty, who's the competition director for the Winston Cup Series, and he says that is the driver's prerogative. If he comes out of the pits in front of the others, that he can stay out there. It's a gentleman's agreement between the drivers that they move down to the inside. Earnhardt chose to stay on the outside. As a result, he got a lap back.
Look at Morgan Shepherd high on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace passes below. Now here comes Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte. So Morgan Shepherd may be playing it cool here, or there may be a slight problem with that car. But anyway, there are now 3 positioned between Morgan Shepherd in second and the leader, Davey Allison. But those 3 all trying to get a lap back have got their work cut out for them because Davey Allison is quite a distance ahead of them. And they'll have to, of course, get by him to get their lap back.
He has moved out to a good distance. There's more trouble up on turn 4 as Neil Bonnet apparently has blown an engine in car number 75. He gets it down on the low side of the racetrack, out of the groove. But Neil Bonnet, who has had trouble all day long, caution comes out, now is headed into the garage area. He makes that hard left turn and spins it out as he heads into the garage area. He was just trying to drive cautiously into the garage area, but apparently had oil under the wheel and spun him right around.
Yeah, it was really a nice move by Neil because his concern was to get off the racetrack and not to put a whole lot of oil out there on the surface. He got on the brakes hard and dived to the inside, got the car on the apron, and then tried to put it into the garage area, but he was going just a little too fast, and as you indicated, maybe some oil beneath the wheels. In any case, the yellow comes out once again, and now we'll see Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte right behind the leader, Davey Allison, when the green comes out again. And here it is once again.
And as he comes down to the end of pit road, he makes a hard left turn. You can see some fire coming out, but there is oil there as he came around, and when his rear wheels hit that oil as he was trying to turn left, it just spun him around.
Looked like that NASCAR official wasn't aware of what was going on behind him. He kept his cool. Anyway, Neil Bonnet is going to retire from competition. 307 laps to go. Once again, under the caution flag. We'll take another break. The crowd anticipating a restart of the Budweiser 500. The cars come out of corner number 4, and the green flag is out. Watch the scramble now. There are several trying to get their laps back, although Davey Allison and second place Morgan Shepherd will take the lead as they go into the corner, but on the bottom side of the racetrack, that's Bill Elliott, also Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte. All those guys trying to get their lap back, and so for that matter is Mark Martin in car number 6.
And Bill Elliott does move around Davey Allison, so that puts him back in the lead lap according to our calculation. Rusty Wallace trying to make the move now.
Our information indicates that the 11 car of Terry Labonte is 2 laps down. So only Bill Elliott at the moment has gotten back on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace struggling to do so. The leader, the number 28 Haviland Ford, driven by Davey Allison. Now the 5th car there in line is the 2nd place Skull Bandit, being driven today by Morgan Shepherd. 3rd place at the moment belongs to Bill Elliott, of course. He is back on the lead lap. Then 4th would be Wallace, followed by Sterling Marlin, Tommy Ellis in substitution for Rick Wilson. Then the 6th car of Mark Martin, the 7 machine driven by Alan Kowicki. And then in 9th position, a lap down also is Lake Speed. 10th position, 2 laps down, and officially is Terry Labonte.
Bob, it seems it takes Morgan Shepherd a while to get to going after the restarts. We've said that before, but it takes about 15 or 20 laps for him to really get to going, and then he comes on strong when they run that lap that far under green.
Yeah, he's certainly not keeping up with the leader, Davey Allison, at the moment. He remains that 5th car back, but nevertheless is staying up with everybody else, but certainly not gaining on Allison at the moment.
Allison up there trying to put Bill Elliott a lap down as we watch Morgan Shepherd running along behind Terry Labonte. He's driven a very smart race in that car today.
He definitely has, and certainly is in a position to win it. Shepard from Conover, North Carolina. Oh, the car a little squirrely there in turn number 1. He almost lost control.
He did get a little squirrely there. Whether he was low or something, maybe, I don't know.
This is only his 7th race of this year, Morgan Shepard. His best finish has been a 7th at Rockingham.
Here we can see how close Davey Allison is behind Bill Elliott. He certainly would like to put him a lap down, but they're running hard right now, perhaps as hard as they've run all day long. And Elliott knows that he has to run hard if he's going to keep himself in the 6th lap and have a position, get himself in position to possibly win this race. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
Well, Dave, we talked about the tire problems people had a week or so ago when everyone sort of bailed out of Goodyear and went to Hoosier. Well, today, everyone thought maybe Goodyear would have a problem and they would be doing the same thing again, but that's not the case. As a matter of fact, a number of drivers that started on Hoosier tires are now on Goodyears, and one of those is Davey Allison. Davey Allison started and qualified on the Hoosier tires and put the Goodyear tires on a while back, and now they're running so well and showing no wear and no temperature that he feels very comfortable that he can run the rest of the day and win this thing on these Goodyear tires.
Well, right now, they're turning 25.9 seconds a lap, and that's some of the fastest laps that we've seen since the early part of the race.
Well, a whole bunch of cars here battling for position. The 44 car of Sterling Marlin, 83 driven by Lake Speed, the 7 car of Alan Kulicki, the pole sitter is right there also. Then comes the 31 car of Joe Ruttman, and Dave Marcus also is involved here in this race.
Well, we certainly have to commend both tire companies, Hoosier and Goodyear, for bouncing back so quick after the problems they had last week at Charlotte. Of course, as we pointed out at the top of the show today, the vast difference in the temperature here today was about 90 degrees at Charlotte last week, and it's in the low 70s here. That makes a big difference. Goodyear has a completely different tire here from what they had last week. It was a new tire that was tested and designed for this racetrack. Hoosier has the same tires that they had, same compound and everything as they had last week at Charlotte.
And when you talk about the tire company, you've got to mention the cooperation that we have seen between the two. Sure, they're competitors, but last weekend a lot of the Goodyear guys hung around after they had withdrawn their tires and helped the Hoosier employees mount the tires and help them with the race. And I think that speaks well for both tire companies.
It certainly does.
Kulicki there in car number 7 is running in 8th position, a lap down. And Alan, while driving a conservative race, I'm sure at this point would rather he not be a lap down, but things have just not gone his way so far in this race. Big hopes of winning his first Winston Cup race because of the fact that he was on the pole, but at the moment, the man in command of this event is Davey Allison in car number 28, and if he should win here this afternoon, it'll be 2 in a row. Winning the Budweiser 500, he tasted victory here last year at this time. We'll be back right after this with more of our live coverage. Back at Dover Downs, where the yellow has come out and everyone is pitting. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, the leader, Davey Allison, in getting 4 tires, now putting 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and Robert Yates brings the jack around the left side. Left side car is up, and they're putting the left side tires on. Meanwhile, Dick Berger is up in the Morgan Shepherd pit. Dick?
We had a problem up here for a while, Jerry Punch. The right front tire that was intended for Morgan Shepherd's car got loose from the tire carrier, bounced out. Davey Allison has gone out of the pit road while these other guys are still here. That tire bounced out pit road. Kulicki hit it with his hood. It slowed Morgan Shepherd down, who is now just leaving the pit. So a bad pit stop for Morgan Shepherd will put him behind.
Well, the caution was brought out by the fact that Joe Ruttman in car number 31 went spinning down the backstretch, Ned.
He was in a thick bunch of traffic. It was hard to tell if he got hit by someone, and amazingly, that he didn't get hit by anyone else. If he did get hit in the beginning, backed into the inside retaining wall, he has since brought the car on around to pit road, and you can see them working on the car. A lot of damage to the left front. Let's go back to the pits and Jerry Punch.
And going, Joe Ruttman sitting in the Slender U Oldsmobile. They have put the left front tire on. That's Bob Clark, the car owner, leaning down in front of the car. They're pulling some of that sheet metal away. Now they hold it up, and they're going to let it go slowly as Ruttman has some significant sheet metal damage on the front of the car. They're trying to get the fender bent back down. They're still working on it, so a lengthy stay for Joe Ruttman. A tough break for the Slender U colors in car number 31.
So Ruttman remain in the pit area as they continue to look at that car. So we are under caution once again with 327 laps completed in the Budweiser 500. Yellow remains out because of a spin on the backstretch involving Joe Ruttman, and the lead is held by the number 28 car driven by Davey Allison. Now, on pit road, there was a bit of an incident involving Morgan Shepherd, and this is how it occurred.
Shepherd comes in for pit stop, and you can see the tire that was scheduled to go on it went rolling off down in front of Alan Kowicki's car. So he had to go chase the tire down.
And a lengthy pit stop for Morgan Shepherd. Nevertheless, he maintains that second spot. Really no major damage done there since we were under caution. But Morgan Shepherd is still in second, and now there are 3 cars on the lead lap because Bill Elliott was ahead of Davey Allison when they raced back to the flag, and Davey is still in the lead, but Bill Elliott is back on the lead lap.
And look at him jockey for positions over on the backstretch. Now Rusty Wallace has chosen, as Dale Earnhardt did earlier, to stay up. He did get out of the pits first, so he has that prerogative to stay up on the outside of the track and the front of the pack, where the leaders normally go, is on the high side of the racetrack.
And so is Lake Speed up there. So Davey Allison, the leader, is the 3rd car in line on the high side of the racetrack.
Mark Martin has been trying to position himself there. We see him coming again, but he tried to get on the inside of Davey Allison, but couldn't. So let's see. I believe the yellow is going to stay out again because there's just too much positioning going on. They got to try to get them straightened out.
Harold Kinder won't let them go until he says they go, and he felt that they weren't in proper formation and trying to decide who should go where. So we will go back to green this time around. Technically, the 27 car of Rusty Wallace and the 83 car of Lake Speed are now on the lead lap, although they're running just ahead of the leader. And of course, Davey might take some action and pass them again as the green comes out. But technically, we have now 5 cars on the lead lap.
Yes, I would agree with that, and certainly they earned the right to be up there because they got out of the pits first.
Okay. So we're setting up for a restart as the 2 abreast formation is now formed behind the pace car. And the pace car accelerating, coming through the 3rd and 4th turns. And we are set to go back to racing once again. This was our 7th caution period of the afternoon, and again, because of a spin, no major wall contact with Joe Ruttman down the backstretch. Green comes out on lap number 331. Now let's watch Rusty Wallace and Lake Speed to see if they can stay ahead of the leader, Davey Allison.
Of course, Terry Labonte on the inside, he's 2 laps down, so he wants to stay in front of the leader. He might think that he needs to stay in front of Rusty, but really Davey Allison is who he needs to stay in front of. So he now has dropped back behind Rusty Wallace, knowing that running side by side would slow both of them down.
Boy, Rusty Wallace and Lake Speed would certainly like to see a caution come out right now. Certainly not because of an accident, but perhaps for a blown motor or some debris on the racetrack, because that would give them a tremendous advantage. Now, Davey is right on the back bumper of Lake, and Lake is trying to keep him back there. They may have had some contact as they went down the back stretch and out of turn number 2. Now Lake moves to the high side and gives Allison plenty of room as they cross the stripe. They race side by side, though, into the corner. And now Davey moves ahead, so Lake goes a lap down once again. And now Labonte and Rusty Wallace are side by side ahead of the leader.
And Labonte figured, well, I can run a little bit faster than Rusty Wallace, so let me see if I can't stay out in front of Davey Allison. But Davey has nowhere to go, and Labonte gets loose.
Boy, did he. That could have been a real serious problem, but Labonte gathered it in nicely. And now that gives Lake Speed an opportunity to once again race with Davey Allison, but Davey once again edges ahead. Look at it again up in turn number 4, that last lap. Watch Terry Labonte's number 11 get really squirrely.
The back end just comes around on him momentarily, and Davey Allison made a very quick move. He saw what was happening, moved to the outside of Terry Labonte, and of course avoided hitting him for one thing. And if Labonte had spun around, it perhaps would have let Davey Allison move on the outside of him without contact.
Now Labonte and Lake Speed run side by side as Jeff Bodine watches the number 5 car. And the 33 machine of Morgan Shepherd is behind the Bodine car, and he is in second position. But as Ned has been pointing out throughout the race, it seems like it takes him a while to get back up to speed after coming off a caution.
And there's Bill Elliott right behind him. Now, Elliott, of course, got his lap back. Let's go to the pits and Dick Berger.
Well, no, there's a lot of tire strategy going on here. Right now, I'm in Bill Elliott's pit. They started this race on Goodyear tires. They're right now running on Hoosier tires. And as you can see, they're setting up Goodyear's and Hoosiers. They're going to run whatever's best by the time this thing is all done and over with. By the way, most of the teams have saved at least one set of Goodyears in case there's a caution with about 10 or 15 laps to go. Recall that Goodyears are faster when they are fresh and when they are brand new. I'll tell you what, these guys are really thinking this tire thing through. And anybody who says that automobile racing is just brawn has made a mistake. There's a lot of brain power going into this stuff right now.
And I think one thing that we can definitely say, at least at this point, is that neither tire company has a great decided advantage in this race, as the Goodyears and the Hoosiers are both working very well.
They have done better than everybody expected them to, and thank goodness for it. It looks like Rusty Wallace is about to go a lap down. No, not quite. Boy, he's driving his heart out.
He stays on the lead lap for the moment. Meanwhile, back in the pack, we have a battle for second. Now, Bill Elliott is trying to take that second position to the number 9 red car to the inside away from Morgan Shepherd in car number 33. The battle for second side by side. Terry Labonte watches from behind. He tries to position himself between the two. They come off the corner, and Bill Elliott has gotten second position from Morgan Shepherd. The number 5 car, by the way, of Jeff Bodine, running right ahead of Bill Elliott, is 2 laps down, running in 10th position unofficially.
And so is Terry Labonte. So actually, Terry Labonte and Jeff Bodine would be running for position, even though Labonte is 3 or 4 car lengths behind him right now.
Boy, it looks like Bill Elliott is just saying, where can I go here, guys? Give me some room. I got to shake Morgan Shepherd. But at the moment, they run side by side. The battle for second, once again, 9 and 33, Elliott and Morgan Shepherd.
Well, it certainly does not give Bill Elliott anywhere to go with them running side by side up there. He just has to sit there. Now Shepherd comes back up on the outside of Bill Elliott as those 2 cars race in front of him. It looks like Lake Speed might get the best of that battle, and that'll help Morgan Shepherd itself.
Number 6 car of Mark Martin, which runs alongside the 11 car of Terry Labonte, is in 6th position, 1 lap down. Now here comes Bill Elliott on the inside. And looks like he's going to make a clean pass here and officially go into second position. Yes, he does.
Boy, he had to work for that one.
He stays on the low side of the racetrack, and here comes Morgan Shepherd also down at the bottom.
Jeff Bodine in between the 2 of them now. Bodine's car is running very strong right now. In fact, there are 5 cars that are 2 laps down. Bodine running in the 5th position. Terry Labonte, running in 2 laps down is in 10th position. Jim Bouchard is 12th. Bobby Allison is 13th. Dale Earnhardt is 14th. And Buddy Baker is 15th. All of those cars 2 laps down.
So we have 2 Fords that are showing the way here. That is, of course, Navy Allison in a Ford leading and Bill Elliott in a Ford in second position. But Rusty Wallace here in car number 27, the Pontiac, is still on the lead lap. And remember, Ford has won the last 3 Winston Cup races at Dover. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Our Larry Newberg.
Well, Bob, we're about 2/3 of the way through a day that loomed ominously before the green flag dropped, but it just has not unfolded that way. Here are highlights from the first 2/3 of the race. Here was the first tricky moment when Jimmy Horton spun in front of the then leaders, Morgan Shepherd and Bill Elliott, but both of the gentlemen gave the other gentleman enough room to race. Dale Earnhardt in the menacing black number 3 almost lost it in front of a pack of cars, but he saved it. Michael Waltrip has had a good day. He ran into the top 5, but this was the first of his problems. The jack was not disconnected as he pulled from the pits. He later dropped out of the race. Morgan Shepherd has led much of this race today. Morgan subbing for Harry Gant, but on this pit stop, he ran out of gas. He lost the lead, although quick pit work brought the car back out into the number 2 position. Morgan still runs comfortably in the top 5 and has a real shot at winning this race. The this was not a typical race of attrition. Usually there's lots of spins like this and crashes at Dover. This is Brett Bodine. He's running the top 10, making contact with Joe Boer. At the halfway point, only 2 cars had dropped out of this race here at the Monster Mile. It was not a typical day. All that smoke, Michael Waltrip. We told you he had a good day until the woes began to set in. This was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Neil Bonnet also had engine failure as he darted to make the hard left turn into pit road. He was going just a little too quick. He had to lock her up and spin coming to a stop. Joe Ruttman had his problems coming down the back straightaway. He goes into a wild, long, and frightening spin, but no significant wall contact. This wall banger was a very minor Harvey. Then in pit road, just about 1/2 hour ago, one of the wheels that was supposed to be mounted on Morgan Shepherd's car went errantly bouncing in front of Alan Kowicki. Slight contact there, but not enough damage to knock Alan Kowicki out of the race. Davey Allison is currently the leader of this contest. He is running quicker than anybody on the racetrack, and he leads the contest. As you can see, it's Davey, followed by Bill Elliott, Morgan Shepherd, Rusty Wallace just barely hanging on to the lead lap. He's about 2 car lengths ahead of Davey Allison right now, and Mark Martin is also clutching 1 lap down. He's in 5th position.
So that brings you up to date on what has happened so far in the Budweiser 500. We've got almost 150 more laps to go in this one, so anything could happen. We'll be back with more of our live coverage. Back at Dover Downs International Speedway, where we have completed 358 laps of the 500 lap Budweiser 500, and Davey Allison continues to lead this race. We invite you to be with us for Speed Week at 7:30 Eastern Time on Thursday night, and of course Motor Week Illustrated on at 12:30 a.m. on Thursday morning. Both Speed Week and Motor Week Illustrated keeping you up to date on what's going on in auto racing. Now, the College World Series game number 5 is coming up later this afternoon here on ESPN at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Game 5 featuring California versus Florida. Here in the Budweiser 500, Davey Allison is the leader. 2nd place is Bill Elliott. 3rd is Morgan Shepherd. 4th, Rusty Wallace. 5th is Mark Martin. 6th is the 83 car driven by Lake Speed. And 7th place belongs to Alan Kowicki, who is the pole sitter. 8th is Tommy Ellis in substitution for Rick Wilson. 9th is Sterling Marlin. And 10th is the number 5 car driven by Jeff Bodine. So there are the top 10. And we go back and take a look at some of these that are now on the racetrack. There is the leader, Davey Allison, driving the number 28 Haviland Ford. It seems to be his race right at the moment, although there's another Ford lurking in the shadows. And there he is. Number 9, Bill Elliott, running in 2nd spot, and Ned, he appears to be possibly catching Davey Allison.
He is gaining on him. Elliott had a tough time getting out of the traffic back there as we saw him working his way up into 2nd place, and but he is gaining right now.
Number 5, Jeff Bodine, the Levi Garrett Chevrolet, is 2 laps down, running in 10th position. There is the 3rd place car, driven by Morgan Shepherd, car number 33. That is the Mark Martin face that we're seeing, and there is Mark Martin in the number 6 Stroh Light car. He is running in 5th position, a lap down, but it's been a very strong race for him. Another guy who has had a good race, and were it not for some extra pit stops that he had to make, would be right up there with the leaders. That's the 83 car driven by Lake Speed. He is a lap down in 6th position. The 98 car driven by Brad Knopfsinger, one of those who is a rookie on the Winston Cup circuit for 1988, trying to win Rookie of the Year honors. Brad Knopfsinger, former sprint car driver from California. Terry Labonte is in car number 11, and Terry has also had to put up with some extra pit stops. Alan Kowicki drives car number 7. He is in 7th position, also a lap down. Bobby Allison in car number 12 is not at the moment being shown in the top 10. However, we do show him in 12th position, some 2 laps down from the leader. And we do have a battle shaping up for the lead, as now Bill Elliott has sneaked upon Davey Allison and may challenge him down the back stretch and into turn number 3. Let's see.
Well, he had a slow car. He could not make him move to the inside, but Elliott has run him down. He was pretty far back. Now he's going to try it up on the outside, and Jeff Bodine following right up through there, but Bill Elliott making a pass on the outside.
I don't know. I think Davey allowed him some racing room up there, and
he definitely gave him some room to run, no question about it.
So Elliott goes into the lead now, and Davey Allison drops back to 2nd. as Jeff Bodine in car number 5 is also
trouble coming off of turn 4. Dave Marcus has hit the wall in car number 71.
A lot of smoke coming from that car as it scoots against the wall and comes to a stop just beyond the start-finish line.
And Jeff Bodine, I believe, got one of his laps back as we saw him come into the picture there as they were coming back to the start-finish line. It looked like he moved around Bill Elliott and picked up one of his laps.
Well, Dave Marcus, for the second weekend in a row, is into the wall, and he had a tremendous shot last weekend at Charlotte when his car went actually up and over Sterling Marlin and then went sliding and slamming into that outside retaining wall at Charlotte, and he's into the pits once again here this afternoon at Dover.
And Bob, also getting a lap back was Rusty Wallace, who had been out in front of the leaders there for a while, so this will put him back in contention once again. And just before this happened, Kyle Petty had come into the pits with smoke coming from the Citgo Ford number 21. They have since rolled it into the garage area, apparently out of the race.
So Kyle Petty goes behind the wall, but on this side of the wall, a lot of pit action, and let's go to the pit area.
Davey Allison getting right side tires. Remember, Bill Elliott has Hoosier tires on, and Davey Allison has Goodyears. And Davey's Goodyears were getting a little bit slow on him, and Elliott went running around him. So Allison getting 4 tires. Let's go to Dick Berger. Dick?
And up here, Bill Elliott's doing exactly the same thing, Jerry, except the tire brand here is Hoosier. 4 tires for him. Meanwhile, up pit road, we're looking at Dave Marcus, the emergency cruiser with him, and Elliott has left.
So service being completed on the front-running cars, and they go back out into competition. The ambulance and the wrecker are here on the front straightaway, concerned about the condition of Dave Marcus. Now, here is a replay of the accident.
Well, as it came off of turn 4, he got into the wall, slammed the wall pretty hard, but he did stay up against the wall as he came down the front straightaway, and that allowed the oncoming traffic to move down on the inside and move around him.
And there you see the rescue operation for Dave Marcus in the Lifebuoy Chevrolet.
You can see the windshield has popped out of that car, Bob.
So we will be under caution here for a while until we can get the car removed from the track and make sure that Dave Marcus is okay. We'll be right back. International Speedway, where Dave Marcus has hit the wall in turn number 4. We are under a caution flag. The medical rescue squad is right there at the Dave Marcus crash site. Dave, of course, as we indicated, also hard into the wall last week at Charlotte. There are a lot of walking wounded, so to speak, in the garage area and on pit road when this weekend started here. And our resident doctor for ESPN, Jerry Punch, walked through the garage area.
Well, on weekends, I play commentator for ESPN and Speed World. And during the week, I play doctor. I wear one of these coats, and I make rounds in a hospital throughout the week. So I thought maybe we would change up this weekend. I'd put the white coat on, and we'd make some garage area rounds and check on some patients. Our first patient today is Ricky Rudd. And Ricky had a significant injury a couple of weeks ago at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What happened when that tire blew and he smacked the wall? His left knee was involved. He came across and hit the wall, and this lower part of the knee, this being the tibia and the fibula, these 2 bones here, were pulled to one side, therefore shearing a ligament here on the inside of the knee. He was taken to Indianapolis and examined by orthopedists there. He now wears a brace. And Ricky, basically, how is the knee?
Well, I think it's really pretty good shape considering the injury. The doctors in Hickory, Dr. Moretz, they looked at it also and came up with this brace and an exercise program, a real stiff exercise program to try to get the leg back in shape as quickly as they possibly could. And what this brace does is prevent any of that side movement at all in my leg, but yet lets me move my knee the proper way. And basically it's a 6-month healing process, but the doctors in Hickory decided don't wait 6 months to let it get healed. Naturally, I can't wait that long. So they came up with a brace, and I'm able to go back in the race car pretty quickly as long as I don't do anything to aggravate the injury.
So the prognosis for Ricky Rudd is a good one. He should race here all afternoon. Hopefully he will. Ricky Rudd, our first patient. Let's make some more rounds here in the garage area. Also among the missing this weekend, the owner of the Crisco Motorcraft Ford, Bud Moore. Now, Bud Moore injured on a pit road accident a week ago when his driver, Brett Bodine, hit some oil coming in the pits. Moore was holding the pit board. Brett slid into Bud Moore, who came up across the hood and came down and fractured his leg. This time it's his right leg for Bud Moore, and you see here it's the small bone on the outside of the right leg. This is the fibula. Moore has that fracture as well as some torn ligaments in the leg. He is home watching today, hopefully be back in a few weeks. So Bud Moore, 62 years of age, out of it here at Dover. Well, our next patient here in the garage area is Neil Bonnet. And Neil, Charlotte has not been very good to you. Now, a year ago, you ended up with a 16-inch plate in the right leg and 8 screws holding it in and required a 3 or 4 months recuperation. And then last week, something else happened. What happened up there?
Well, I lost a tire and I got into the outside wall. And when I hit the outside wall, I blacked out. I didn't even know the car went across and hit the inside wall. And when it did, I was unconscious and didn't have a hold of the steering wheel. And I just bounced all around. It hit my left leg. Did a little bit of damage to my left leg. I messed up some ribs and might have cracked some vertebrae back here in the back of my back. So that just beat me up in general. I got 2 black eyes. I'm not sure my wife didn't do that.
Well, your injuries to the knee involved an overnight hospitalization at Cabarrus Memorial Hospital in Concord, some strained knee ligaments in his left knee, some bruising up and down his leg. He's basically a total body bruise. The prognosis is very good for Neil Bonnet. He'll try to run all day here at Dover. The most severely injured of the drivers was Harry Gant. He cut a right front tire and slammed hard on the outside wall in turn 2 here at Charlotte. Gant's left leg hit the steering column and fractured the tibia right along in here, just below the knee area, and fractured the small bone, the fibula, on the outside of the leg. Well, we've had a busy day here making rounds in the garage area. Let's see if my assistant Henry Benfield has another patient for me. Henry, another patient? Who's next? Who's next? Well, I tell you, maybe we should spend some time just trying to get to the bottom of this Earnhardt-Bodine feud. What do you think?
We've put all that behind us this last week. Well, we put everything behind us.
I don't know what to make of that comment, but I think I understand what they're saying. Well, there's Dave Marcus's car, which is on the hook and being taken from the racetrack. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch once again for an update on Dave Marcus.
Well, Dave Marcus has climbed from the car and has been taken out of the car in the garage area. We'll try to get a comment with him in just a moment. But now we'd like to get an update on Larry Pollard. Now, Larry Pollard, the son-in-law of Harry Gant, was driving a Skoll car in place of Harry yesterday, the Ed Whittaker car. Heavy contact with the wall. And I'm with Johnny Hayes, the Vice President of Motorsports of U.S. Tobacco. And Johnny has spent most of the morning with Larry Pollard over at Kent General Hospital. And we understand Larry's parents are watching up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, very eager to understand what's going on with Larry today. And Johnny, give us the latest update.
Well, Larry's certainly making good progress. It was a tough night last night. We weren't sure exactly what was wrong with him. It seemed like he had a lot of injuries, and there were a lot of rumors. But I'm really pleased to report that Larry's responding well. He has no broken bones. He has he fractured his skull when he hit the steering wheel with his head. However, he's responding well. He is conscious. He's not able to communicate and talk at this point, but he can communicate by squeezing your hand, and he understands you. And the doctor says that's fantastic results, and it's going quickly, and he expects him for a total recovery with no brain damage. They did do MIR and CAT scans, and Dr. Jerry Petty in Charlotte, North Carolina, has been working as a consultant for us on this. As you know, he's one of the top neurosurgeons in the country, and he has kept us up to date. He's talked with the neurosurgeons here, and we feel certain that we're going to get a total recovery.
Well, that's awfully good news for Larry Pollard, and a lot of the fans have been eager to hear. They saw that violent crash yesterday. Larry Pollard, the prognosis is very good. He is heavily sedated, as I said. He will squeeze your hand and open his eyes in response to being called, his name, and high-intensive care. And our best wishes go and prayers go to his family and Larry Pollard.
All right, thank you very much, Jerry, for that update on the condition of Larry Pollard. As we watch the top 10, we'll take another break in the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs.
Collapsed. The dashboard is collapsed with the car. The roof is pushed up. This your own car?
Well, you know, it's another car that's wrecked. 2 weeks in a row. It is going to put a hurting on us, but we do have a Riverside car ready, and probably the biggest problem at Riverside is going to be shifting because it's my right-hand shoulder again.
Dave Marcus disappointed to be out of it, but he is all right other than bumps and bruises.
Well, he certainly did take a shot coming out of corner number 4 as that car hit it right for the outside wall. The green is back out here, and racing resumes, and the lead is being held by Bill Elliott. Second behind Elliott is the Lake Speed car, number 83, but he's a lap down in fifth. Second place in the standings at the moment is Morgan Shepherd. They're the green-white car, number 33. In third position is Davey Allison, and fourth is Rusty Wallace. Those four cars are on the lead lap. In sixth position behind Lake Speed, a lap down also is Jeff Bodine, and then the seventh car of Alan Kowicki. And look at the traffic.
Boy, it is heavy traffic there as they jockey for position. Some of those cars 1 lap down, some of them are 2 laps down, but everybody racing as hard as they possibly can.
Two abreast, looks like to start the race as they come out of corner number 4. That's Mark Martin on the high side, leading him down. Buddy Baker is on the inside. Then behind the 6th car is the 4 car driven by Tommy Ellis. To his inside is Sterling Marlin. Rusty Wallace is outside of row number 3 there, and Ken Schrader to the inside.
There's just nowhere that any of the cars behind can go as long as those 2 cars in front are running side by side.
Here comes Richard Petty down to the inside, but he's going to have to fall into formation. Some great racing going on as we watch from the car being driven this afternoon by Tommy Ellis. He's right behind the Mark Martin Ford.
But he has nowhere to go because the cars in front of him are running side by side, so he just has to sit there and hope that one of them, and preferably the one in front of him, Mark Martin, is able to move on out in front of Alan Kowicki.
Down the front stretch, these cars are still bunched very tightly together.
Actually, that was Buddy Baker down on the inside, and Mark Martin was able to move around him.
There you see Martin down to the inside, and now he has pulled away, or is beginning to pull away from the rest of the pack, and so is Tommy Ellis for that matter. Rusty Wallace is sneaking up on Tommy Ellis, and perhaps we'll see that car here in just a second. Once again, they come down the front stretch, passing under Harold Kinder in the starter stand. And now Tommy Ellis looks to the inside of Mark Martin there in turn number 2. Coming out of the corner, it is Ellis that's pulling alongside. And Dale Jarrett is also battling out there for position as we go inside of his race car. That's Ken Bouchard in car number 10 ahead.
And that's Ricky Rudd up on the outside of Dale Jarrett. Dale's been beside of him for a couple of laps.
Hardy's race cam giving us some good pictures. These cameras, unfortunately, are not able to move. They are locked into their static position, caused by the fact that there's a bit of bumping sustained by the cameras. They were giving us some good shots and moving earlier, but the roughness of the track and the 384 laps that have been completed have locked those cameras into position. Look at this unbelievable traffic out there. Ken Schrader, 88, Buddy Baker, then the 68 car driven by Derek Cope as they all come down the straightaway, and Richard Petty is also right there along with Joe Ruttman and Ken Bouchard.
While all of that racing has been going on, Davey Allison has moved around Morgan Shepherd and has taken over the second position. And in fact, he has moved up on the back bumper of Bill Elliott, or near the back bumper of him, as they lap around Jimmy Means.
Davey Allison looking strong, pulling in on the leader, Bill Elliott. Here comes third place car being driven by Morgan Shepherd, although he's dropping back just a bit.
It just seems to take a while to get that car to going for some reason. Apparently it's a little bit tight. That means the back end is sticking very tight, which makes it a good driving race car, but sometimes not as fast. But then after they run a while, the car comes on strong. It loosens up.
Well, these two Fords, it appears, are equally matched. And Davey Allison and Bill Elliott are now running right together on the racetrack. Elliott in command at the moment. But Davey Allison is right there to make a bid whenever he, it seems like, whenever he wants to.
He's back on the Goodyear, as was pointed out earlier, and Elliott on the Hoosier tires. And normally, the Goodyear tires will run faster when they're cooler.
Let's go to Larry Newber in pit central for an observation on Davey Allison.
Now, Now, Bob, two things. First of all, Davey Allison a year ago, remember, was the rookie. He was somewhat of an unknown commodity, but we all thought he was going to make a big splash. He probably made as big a splash here at Dover as anywhere. In the 2 races here, he did just about as fine as anybody could do. He had a first and a second. So Davey Allison really likes Dover. One other comment about the tire battle. We haven't really summarized it the last few laps here. Hoosier right now is really getting the edge. The top 10 positions are changing dynamically. They're changing lap after lap because we've seen all this side-by-side racing. But for the majority of the last 40 or 50 laps, 7 of the top 10 cars have been on Hoosiers.
And so that's the summary as we have 110 more laps to go in this race. Hoosier with the advantage in the tire war. Bill Elliott, the leader, and Davey Allison running in second position. We're glad you could be with us on this Sunday afternoon for our live coverage of the Budweiser 500. We'll be right back.
In communities across America, there's a...
Back at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, where Bill Elliott leads the Haviland Ford number 28 of Davey Allison here in the Budweiser 500. Third place is Morgan Shepherd. Fourth is Rusty Wallace. And in fifth at the moment is the number 83 car driven by Lake Speed. No serious crashes in this race, although Dave Marcus had a jolt with the fourth turn wall. He has been the only serious wall contact of the afternoon, and we talked to Dave, and he says besides sore shoulder, he is in good shape. Pit Central once again. Here's Larry.
Well, Bob, speaking of the competitiveness of the day, as we watch the leader, Bill Elliott, motor around this 1 mile oval, we've had about 15 leaders. Now, we're going to give you the highlights. These are the people who have led at least 1 lap today. Phil Parsons was strong very early on. Mark Martin, remember, he started on the outside front row. Ernie Irvan and DK Ulrich's car stayed out during one of the yellow flags and led a lap, picked up the 5 points. Bill Elliott very much in it for victory here, and Morgan Shepherd has had a very strong day, subbing for Harry Gant. J.D. McDuffie, another yellow flag lap leader. Alan Kowicki led in the early stages inside the first 50 laps of the contest. Then Jimmy Means, Rusty Wallace remains on the lead lap, and Davey Allison. At this point, it's probably a 4-car race between Wallace and Allison. There are 2 of them. Then with the number 33 car, Morgan Shepherd, and the 9 car. And man, right there, he's been there many times before, up front on a super speedway.
So Bill Elliott remains in the lead, but back of him we have the number 7 car of Alan Kowicki and the 5 car of Jeff Bodine running right together on the racetrack. Both of these guys are a lap down, but they are battling for that 6th position. Kowicki, the pole sitter, going in, lost a lap early and has not been able to get it back, but he has been very consistent during the afternoon. Meanwhile, it's that much of an interval between Bill Elliott and Davey Allison. Being comfortable on the racetrack is very important to these drivers. Some of them like these 1 mile ovals that are high banked, and of course other drivers don't think so much of them. We talked to Davey Allison about the comfortableness of this racetrack and the chances of winning.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Sometimes you feel good at a racetrack. You feel comfortable when you get there. Charlotte, for instance, for me, and Talladega, and here at Dover, I've just always felt really comfortable at, and I don't know how to explain it, but when you feel that comfortable, it enables you to relax a little bit more while you're doing your job out there on the racetrack, and sometimes that's better off.
Davey Allison has been very relaxed all afternoon and has been right there in the front part of the pack, and right now he runs in second position to Bill Elliott.
He's losing a little bit of ground to Bill Elliott now. Bob, he had moved up on him pretty close, almost in passing position a while back, but now Elliott beginning to pull away.
Elliott already a winner this year in Winston Cup competition. He won at Bristol. Trying to make it number 2 here this afternoon. Let's go inside the Tommy Ellis Kodak Oldsmobile and just take a lap around Dover Downs International Raceway, listening and watching. Grand National race about how long you are in the corners here. There's very little straightaway, and that's certainly being demonstrated quite vividly with our in-car camera.
Which puts a lot of extra strain and pressure on the tires and also the chassis of the car and the driver. He doesn't have much breathing room down the straightaway till he's ready to go into the next turn. And this is a very unique racetrack. You can see when he goes into the turn, he actually drives downhill to go into that turn. The banking about 33 degrees, and he gets into it very hard. He does have to decelerate going into the turns, but as you can see, very little time to breathe as it goes down the straightaway. In the turn a long time.
Bill Elliott is running the constant line here this afternoon and maintaining that lead. One of the things you have to do in a race of this length, 500 miles around the 1-mile track, is keep the concentration up. Don't ever let it drop, or you may be in trouble. We also asked Bill Elliott about that.
Not really. It don't bother me because you know you're in a race car and you know what you got to do. And it seems like I get better at the end of the day than I do at the start because you know you're just ready to get it over with. And it seems like to do things then, you know, you're being more careful at the first part of the day, and then you just kind of lay all things out there.
Well, a bit good comment by Bill there. He says he's anxious to get the race over, and now with 93 laps remaining, you got to think that Bill is anxious to get the race over, and therefore is concentrating more and making sure he keeps the car in the line that he wants. So Elliott leads now with Allison still second and Morgan Shepherd third. Rusty Wallace fourth. Those four cars on the lead lap. Out there as he laps some of the slower cars, moving down the backstretch and putting another lap on the number 2 car, driven by Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California. Bill Elliott in command of this race, and it appears as if he's pulling away from Davey Allison, or maybe Davey's dropping back, I don't know which, but the interval between first and second is definitely lengthening.
Yes, it is. He's moving away at a very slow pace, but he is working traffic very well and has been able to pull away. And what a surprising that Morgan Shepherd, as long as we have run in this green flag stint, Bob, has not been able to pick back up like he did in other runs.
Mark Martin in the number 6 car and Sterling Marlin in number 44 are battling for 8th position. Mark Martin, of course, started on the front row in this race, sustained some damage to the front end early, and is 1 lap down, as is Sterling Marlin in car number 44. And you see also the Darrell Waltrip car just ahead of Mark Martin.
It's been a long day for Darrell Waltrip. He just never was in contention. The car just didn't go from the very beginning.
And we see these 3 cars from our in-car camera carried by Tommy Ellis, the Kodak Oldsmobile. See Waltrip there on the inside of the racetrack, and Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin both working on top of Darrell Waltrip.
Tommy Ellis has done a good job of driving that race car in relief. It's been a couple of years, or about a year and 2 or 3 months, I guess, since he had been in a Winston Cup car, but he adapted very well. Got in quite a bit of practice yesterday and has done well.
Former ASA champ Mark Martin. Now there is Sterling Marlin. The Piedmont Oldsmobile running just ahead of Tommy Ellis in the Kodak film machine. Tommy Ellis is shown in 10th position at the moment. Make that 9th spot.
And he's trying to change that. Moving on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Boy, he does it. Just moves right around him.
Indeed does. So he picks up a position on Sterling Marlin, and here comes Marlin back on the inside of the racetrack.
Marlin appeared to make a little bit of a slip. Got a little bit high. He almost touched.
Sure did.
As they head down the backstretch.
Very close competition.
Well, actually, that was the front stretch. They're in turn 2 right now and hitting in the backstretch.
You know, if things end as they are right now, we could have a real tighter battle as far as Winston Cup points are concerned, because the leader in Winston Cup points going in, Dale Earnhardt, is back in 14th position, 2 laps down, and is not a threat to win the race. But the guy who is in 2nd position in points, Rusty Wallace, is in 4th. So Rusty's going to pick up some Winston Cup points if he can finish the race in that position. There's Bill Elliott once again, working the number 25 car, driven by Ken Schrader. And Schrader now goes 4 laps down. We're giving you an interval here between first and second. That was Bill Elliott going into turn number 3, and there is Davey Allison. And the pit crew is getting ready for a stop by Davey. And of course, everybody's going to have to make one more pit stop before the end of this race. It appears as if the Allison crew is standing in wait for Davey to come in.
As far as gas is concerned, Bob, they'll be able to go from now. Anytime they stop after right now, they'll be able to go the rest of the distance as far as fuel is concerned, because we've completed, they're on their 422nd lap as Bill Elliott comes around across the start-finish line. So anytime they stop, they can go the rest of the way on fuel. And for more on that, let's go to Larry Newman.
Well, Ned, we calculate down here that everybody can go to lap 450, maybe 460 on the outset if they so choose. But as you just commented, you come in right now, you can go the distance. Now, let's talk about our 4 cars in the lead lap. There's the leader, Bill Elliott. Davey Allison, of course, is second. Morgan Shepherd is on the lead lap, as is Rusty Wallace. The 2 cars that have consistently, among those 4, gotten the best fuel mileage today have been Bill Elliott, right there, and Morgan Shepherd. The 2 getting the worst score are Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. And as a matter of fact, Rusty has consistently been ranked number 4 among those 4 cars in the lead lap. So I would expect Davey and Rusty to come in probably prior to lap 450 to sometime after lap 450. The number 9 car of Elliott and the 33 car of Morgan Shepherd.
And right now, Larry, we're on lap number 424, so those first stops could be coming here within the next 25 miles. Tommy Ellis, again, we mentioned doing a fine job in a substitute role for Rick Wilson in the Kodak Oldsmobile. Now, Rick Wilson did indeed start this race. The NASCAR rules say you have to start now and take the green flag before you're eligible for points. But when that first caution period came out, that was an intentional one by NASCAR for the crews to check the tires. Rick Wilson got out of the car and Tommy Ellis got in. Right now, he is right behind Mark Martin, and to the right of Tommy Ellis is Benny Parsons, who remains in this race. As a matter of fact, we only have 7 cars, make that 10 cars that have dropped from competition here this afternoon. So the attrition rate, again, not all that bad.
Yeah, we have seen races here at Dover where there were only 12 or 13 cars running at the end of the race. Here's Rick Wilson making a move down. Tommy Ellis on the inside of Mark Martin and moves right around it.
This is a battle for position once again, although these cars are a lap down from the leaders. Speaking of the leader, it is Bill Elliott. And there he is in turn number 3. That turn number 2, and he's running in clean air at the moment with no problems for him and his crew. We'll be right back. Laps to go in the Budweiser 500 here at Dover Downs International Raceway with Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, leading this race in car number 9. Jerry Punch has been watching his progress throughout the afternoon and has this comment.
Well, gentlemen, there's no argument that decisions that are made on race day are very important. But for the Elliott team, the decision they made on Monday this week probably is the most critical of all. They decided to bring this particular car here to Dover. This is one of Bill Elliott's favorite race cars. The car he won was at Dover at Rockingham back in November of last year. It's the car he set on a pole with at Rockingham earlier this year. And it's this very car that he drove at Bristol, Tennessee, and got his only short track victory of his career earlier this year on ESPN. He likes the race car, and it's serving him awfully well today. As far as the pit stop penalty is concerned down here, I've been told they will pit around lap 450 to 455. That'll give them 45 laps to go. And the big question is, will they put the Hoosier tires back on it, or will they opt for the Goodyear tires for the final 40 or 45 laps?
All right, Jerry, we have a car running very slowly on the racetrack. It's made its way toward the apron of the pit area. That's the 96 car driven by Dana Patton from Enfield, New Hampshire. He is making his first Winston Cup start this afternoon and pulls the car slowly into the pit area. The crew confers with him. We have no yellow, although the car did slow down in the backstretch, but he was able to get the car off the racetrack. 15 car of Brett Bodine also comes in for a stop, and he's not moving too fast down pit road.
Dale Jarrett was in for a 4-tire change on the Hardy's Oldsmobile. He has changed 4 tires under the green a little bit earlier in the race and lost a couple extra laps, so this is going to put him a little further behind.
Well, Brett pulls behind the wall back into the garage area, so he's going to be the 11th car out of the race. The race summary has Bill Elliott leading, having led 148 up to 433 laps. The average speed is 115.91 miles an hour. 8 caution periods for a total of 48 laps, 11 leaders and 28 lead changes. And as we report to you right now, there are 4 cars on the lead lap. Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Morgan Shepherd, and Rusty Wallace. Those 4 cars on the lead lap.
Lake Speed running in the 5th position is 1 lap down. Lake is running almost as fast as the leader, certainly as fast as Davey Allison is right now. In fact, he's running right on Davey's bumper, but he has just not been able to make up his lap.
And a reminder, next weekend we have a big triple header for you, including reports from Le Mans. Also coverage of the Formula One race from Montreal, the Grand Prix of Canada. And then, of course, we'll be on the air at 4 o'clock Eastern Time from Riverside, California. And the race on the road course at Riverside.
Bill Elliott has now moved out to a 7 1/14 second lead over Davey Allison. So he continues to build that lead. He's moving up on Mark Martin now, about to put him another lap down. Mark was running 1 lap down, and currently leading about the 9th position, but he's about to go 2 laps down.
Elliott moves outside down the main straightaway, and indeed Mark Martin does go 2 laps down in that 9th position.
Well, this Ford of Elliott's looks like the days have passed when we've seen him just run away from the field. The car has just worked so beautiful for him. He's done his part in driving. Here's the interval officially. I had a stopwatch on him a moment ago, which showed 7 4/10 seconds, and is extended to 7 8/10 now.
And it's interesting, Ned, that back in the heyday that you mentioned when Elliott was, it seemed like, winning at least every other race, most of those victories occurred on a super speedway, and it wasn't until just recently that he got his first short track win. And I guess they consider this an intermediate track, but it is far from a super speedway, and Elliott showing the way here.
Yes, and he's always run well here. He, of course, is a former winner here on this racetrack and has sat on the pole a number of times as well, and really knows how to get around it.
Well, things have certainly settled down here with about 59 more laps to go, and Elliott is in command of the race at the moment, so we'll take another break and be right back to Dover Downs International. Punch back at Dover Downs International Raceway for the Budweiser 500. There you see the finishes this year of Bill Elliott, looking for win number 2 in 1988 and looking for his 25th win in Winston Cup competition.
He's due for a pit stop in about 10 laps or maybe a little less. And most of the drivers will be those that have not pitted. A few cars have already pitted. Derek Cope's on pit road right now, but most of the rest of them will be due for a pit stop here before too long.
Running right ahead of Bill Elliott here is the 98 car driven by Brad Knopfsinger and the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip. Last week's winner at Charlotte has not been on the pace from the drop of the green flag, really. Ricky Rudd is still in competition in car number 26 as he runs behind the Tommy Ellis car, number 4. Rudd is out of the top 10 at this time.
Had a couple of early green flag pit stops, which got him behind.
Benny Parsons has been running all day, but not competitively in the Junie Donlevy car.
He and Neil Bonnet were racing to see who could make the most pit stops in the first half of the race. They were just in and out the pits quite a bit, and finally Neil went out of the race. And here's the leader, Bill Elliott, moving up on the outside of Benny Parsons, going to get another lap down.
So there is Bill Elliott continuing to lead. Anticipating a pit stop in just a few more minutes. We heard Larry mention that it will come sometime around lap 450, and right now Bill is on his 449th lap. Staying out there in competition, though, this lap.
Bobby Allison. Brad Knopfsinger, Bobby Allison is in the pits making his pit stop right now. And it looks like that the crew is only going to put gasoline in the car and going to send him back out. So It'll be interesting to see if they do change tires when those that do pit, and all of them will have to make one more pit stop.
Well, thank goodness, and here comes Bill Elliott. We predicted lap number 450, and it is exactly 450. Jerry Punch is here to call the pit stop.
Awesome. Bill Elliott brings the Coors 4 down pit road, now slowly brings it to a halt, jams on the brakes and stops it. They will put right side tires. And the answer is, no, they won't put tires on there. Whenever we look at the tire, they look at the left side tires. Ernie says, hold it, Bill, hold it. Let's get a lot of fuel in the car. We still got to run 50 laps. That's 50 miles. So Davey Allison is in the upper right of the screen. The car is full. Allison in the back stretch, and Elliott back on turn 1.
So Elliott roars back out on the racetrack, and now we watch Davey Allison. He's staying out there, will not choose to come in for a stop this time. Allison is up to full speed, and Bill Elliott trying to get back up to full speed. As you can see, some fuel spraying from the back end of that race car. So obviously that got the tank full and now have an adequate amount of fuel to finish this race, which will come in 49 more laps.
So Davey Allison, of course, has a pit stop yet to make. And he'll be coming in before too long. Several other cars on pit road now, including Bobby Hillen and Ken Bouchard.
There is Davey in turn number 1. He now has the lead, but remember, he will have to have another pit stop.
And I suspect he'll need to change tires, Bob, on the right side of that car, even though Elliott was in long enough. My clock showed him in about 14.5 seconds as Terry Labonte comes down pit road. So they could have changed tires, but they just simply figured they wouldn't need to. Ken Schrader coming back down pit road for the second time in the last couple of laps. So is Mark Martin coming down pit road. Here's the Budweiser stop for Terry Labonte. Will change right side tires on his car.
Labonte, the winner of the Winston a couple of weeks back, and the service completed on his Budweiser-sponsored Chevrolet. He goes back into competition. Dale Earnhardt is also making a pit stop. Bill Elliott continues to run out on the racetrack, and the question is, when will Davey Allison be coming in for a stop and his fuel mileage? Here he comes right now. Let's go to Nick Bergeron.
And indeed he is in. His computer, by the way, said he could stay out there quite a while longer, but they decided they're not going to pay attention to the computer. They're going to bring him in and take no chances at all. It's a right side tire change for Davey Allison. Looking at the left side, that's all. They've got the fuel in it already. Not that many laps to go, though. It took one can, and there goes Davey.
Well, I got him at 14 to 17 seconds, Dick, so that was a little bit quicker pit stop than Elliott made. So we'll see how that, although Elliott was about 8 or 9 seconds ahead of Davey Allison before they made his pit stop. Rusty Wallace is coming down pit road right now, so that would be his last pit stop. That would move car number 33, Morgan Shepherd, into the lead.
Shepherd does inherit the lead once again because of the pit stops, but remember, he'll have to have a final one before the checkered flag falls. He's staying out, however. Rusty Wallace is the 4th place car. He's in the pit area as the crew goes to work and now finishes the work on it, and Rusty goes back out there.
They changed right side tires on his car, and of course gave him enough fuel to finish the race. Richard Petty coming in, the SVP Pontiac, he'll get right side tires and enough fuel to go the rest of the way. Morgan Shepherd continues to stay out there and circle the track.
He's in the 4th turn, will not be coming in this time. Morgan Shepherd staying out there in this full Bandit Chevrolet, car number 33. That is Davey Allison right behind him. Let's go to Dick Bergeron again.
Well, we're at Lake Speed. He's doing the same thing Davey Allison did. He's going to put in at least 2 cans of fuel into Lake Speed's car. Right side tires. The tires are done. The fuel is done. And there he goes.
Lake Speed a lap down before that pit stop, but up there in that 5th position.
Buddy Baker also made a pit stop in the Red Baron Pizza Oldsmobile. He did not take on tires. They looked at the tires and decided that they would just put fuel in. And here's Davey Allison now has moved around Morgan Shepherd. I believe that just put him back in the lead lap. Shepherd would have been a lap ahead before those pit stops, so that put him back in the lead lap.
That is correct. And again, Morgan showing no signs of dropping low on the racetrack and coming in for a pit stop. Now, Davey did pass Morgan there, but remember, Davey made a pit stop and went a lap down, so he's actually just getting that lap back from the leader, Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd running alongside of Jeff Bodine now down the back stretch. Let's see if he comes in this time for fuel. There is the number 4 car of Tommy Ellis, who is in. Ellis also one of those running in the top 10.
So they are going to change tires on that car, changing the right side tires.
Morgan McClure team working feverishly to get Tommy back in the race, and there he goes.
Good pit stop.
the backstretch. Morgan Shepherd, we hear, is coming in this time. Low on the racetrack, indeed. Morgan Shepherd getting out of the throttle, braking and headed for pit road. Dick Berggren is right there and is going to call this pit stop. Here he comes, Dick. Morgan's in the pits.
Tom Jenkins, this is the most important pit stop for him of the day. They do not have tires ready. This will be gas and go. They're going to try to opt for track position rather than do rubber. One can almost in. Morgan can't wait. They got it. He's gone.
Well, a good fast pit stop now. Let's see. Bill Elliott has already gone by him, so Elliott should have taken over the lead once again. Well, Shepherd was pretty far behind before Bill Elliott made his pit stop, even though Shepherd's stop was much faster. He was too far behind to be able to make up enough time on that pit stop to get up close to Bill Elliott.
You know, there's about a half a lap separating Bill Elliott from Morgan Shepherd, so Morgan really didn't gain much on that pit stop because of some good work by both the Bill Elliott team, the Davey Allison team, and the Morgan Shepherd team. So Bill Elliott has the lead once again with 461 laps completed, and most of those running up front having made their final pit stop of the afternoon. Back at Dover, where Bill Elliott has the lead, Morgan Shepherd was able to get out of the pits after his stop ahead of Davey Allison, so Morgan is second. Davey Allison third, Rusty Wallace fourth, and then in fifth position, a lap down, is Lake Speed. So there was no major shuffle of positions during those pit stops. For more on that, let's go to Pit Central. Larry?
Well, Bob, here is the final summary, unless we get another yellow flag of the people that are running in the top four. As you can see, Bill Elliott, Ernie Elliott, Dan Elliott, and crew in first, out first. A little bit of shuffling behind them. Morgan Shepherd, Davey Allison, and Rusty Wallace, and Ned. I want to particularly talk to you about the Morgan Shepherd thing. Obviously, they're very comfortable with the tire situation. We commented earlier, about 100 laps ago, that they were getting the best fuel mileage of anybody in that group. They were in a position to come in and not change tires, which they did not do, and also maybe play a little bit of games with the fuel. Do you think that they might have gone with a little less fuel, meaning a little less weight? They got out quicker. Do you think he's in a position to challenge Bill Elliott?
Well, I think the time factor was the situation, Larry, in their consideration and only putting one can of gas in it. They knew that that would be enough gas to carry them to the finish. Now, the weight situation, I'm not sure, because we have pointed out that it seemed the car was a little bit tight on restart, so maybe the weight thing would come into play. But I think time was more of a factor than anything else. But he's got a lot of catching up to do before he gets to Bill Elliott. And Davey Allison has slowed as he went down the front straightaway. He is definitely not running as fast as he was.
So Davey Allison may have a problem as we watch battles for position behind the leader. There is Davey down the backstretch. Car is, well, appears to be up to almost full speed at least.
Well, I don't know. He down to the inside of the racetrack as he came off at turn 4 the last time around, and he's doing it, well, staying up a little bit higher this time, but he's not running up the pace. Davey Allison is off the pace to some degree. He's still running pretty good, but I would say that he's on 7 cylinders right now.
All right, we'll watch to see if Davey Allison continues to have problems with that car. Again, he is in third position. The other car on the lead lap with him in fourth is Rusty Wallace. So if Rusty can close in on him, we'll know that there is perhaps a major problem with that Davey Allison car.
Well, we can see Derek Cope is moving up on him. He was several hundred yards behind him. He's moving up on him and is about to pass him. So he is definitely off the pace. And you can see Derek passing him down the straightaway, which means that he has lost some of the power in the engine.
Just not the horsepower that we have seen Davey Allison with earlier in the afternoon. Probably a drop cylinder.
Probably so. I would say that he's running on 7 cylinders right now.
Now these guys running behind, now beside of Davey Allison, are contesting position. The number 7 car of Alan Kowicki and the 5 car of Jeff Bodine. They are on the lead lap, or they are on the same lap, I should say, and battling for position.
Bodine fought back from being 2 laps down at one time and was able, when Dave Marcus wrecked, was able to move around Bill Elliott and pick up one of those laps. So he has been running good all afternoon. Another car that's off the pace to some degree is Ken Schrader. He's been running around on the low side of the racetrack for about 10 laps, so his car is not running up to par either. There's a good look at Jeff Bodine and then Alan Kowicki, both smiling young men.
Certainly had to have a big grin on his face we began this race with such high hopes after setting a new track record. However, it hasn't worked out for Alan this way this afternoon. Well, let's go down and perhaps get an answer as to what may be wrong with Davey Allison.
And I would Robert Gates, who builds the motor and is also the crew chief. Robert, what is wrong with Davey?
Well, all of a sudden now, we've lost the cylinder, and we're going to try to keep running. You know, we might still get a decent finish out of it, but we're not hitting on 8.
That's the story. Davey's down one cylinder.
So, Ned, you were absolutely correct in your assessment of that situation. Davey Allison still out there in competition, but not running nearly as fast as he was because of a lost cylinder.
Well, he can still salvage a pretty good position out of it. He's still able to pass some cars and was far ahead of a lot of cars out there that perhaps will not be able to make up enough laps with just 25 remaining to move around him. So he still has a good chance for perhaps even a top 10 finish.
Rusty Wallace is closing in on him and stands to take over third position here pretty quickly, but Davey is a lap ahead of everybody else besides Wallace and Morgan Shepherd and the leader Bill Elliott. So as you indicated, he can definitely salvage a good finishing position from this event.
Well, he finished first and second in the 2 races here a year ago, so that was almost as good as you could do. The best he could have done would have won both of them.
Rusty Wallace closing in on Davey Allison, trying to take over third position. Down the backstretch. There is Davey now going into turn number 3. And Rusty Wallace coming out of corner number 4. The interval is definitely closing in. Rusty Wallace is going to be able to take over third position here in just a lap or 2.
He has only lost about 3/4 of a second over the speed that he was running earlier. He's running about 26.9. He was running about 26.2, 26.3 when he was running full speed.
Now is Bill Elliott still in command of this race. He drops a little bit low, got a little bit squirrely there in corner number 4, but there's no problem. Meanwhile, look how quickly he is closing in on Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. Now, Rusty, there you can see, has taken third position away from Davey Allison, but now both of these guys stand to go a lap down. And quickly, Bill Elliott disposes of Davey Allison, and now threatens also to put a lap on Rusty Wallace. If he does, that will only mean 2 cars on the lead lap besides Elliott. The only other one is going to be Morgan Shepherd.
Well, I'll tell you, Elliott has really, the last 250, 300 miles, has really gotten around this racetrack. The car is just working beautiful for him, and he has driven it great.
So Bill Elliott closing in on position number 3, running away at the moment with a Budweiser 500 with only 29 laps to go. Around Rusty Wallace, so Rusty technically is still on the same lap. However, Bill is closing in on Rusty once again. Here they come off the 4th corner. The Stroh Light car of Mark Martin is right ahead of Rusty Wallace.
I would say that he's not quite as concerned at putting the lap on Rusty now as he would have been earlier in the race, Bob, because he has proven that he has the fastest car right now, and he doesn't want to take any unnecessary chances.
No, he has this race in hand at the moment unless something goes terribly wrong here in the last 14 laps or so. Now, Jeff Bodine in car number 5, Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 continue to battle for position. Despite the fact that Elliott is pretty much running away from this, there is still good competition out there on the racetrack, and Alan Kulwicki and Jeff Bodine are battling side by side.
And Kulwicki made a good move down on the inside and was able to take that position away.
This is the battle for 6th spot. Kulwicki in the Xerox Ford and Jeff Bodine in the Levi Garrett Chevrolet.
Kulwicki, who got himself a brand new Lincoln for sitting on the pole, as well as got himself in the Busch Clash of 1989. It's a big payday for him on Friday.
Well, the laps are quickly ticking off. We've got less than 12 to go now, as Elliott looks like he's in a position to win his 2nd race of the year, having absolutely no problem in disposing with the slower cars and and with keeping second place Morgan Shepherd well behind him. So we set up now for the finish of this event. We'll be right back. To go, Bill Elliott that far from the checkered flag and his second win of the 1988 season. He is well ahead of Morgan Shepherd in the Skull Bandit car number 33. Morgan has had a great race in the substitute role for Harry Gant. Third is Rusty Wallace, and then a lap down. Lake Speed has passed Davey Allison, with Allison, of course, sitting nursing his engine, has dropped another position back to 5th. Then in 6th position is Alan Kowicki. 7th is Tommy Ellis. 8th is Jeff Bodine. In 9th position is Mark Martin. And in 10th is Sterling Marlin. That's how they're running, with just about a little more than 5 laps, a little more than 6 laps to go.
Well, Elliott has certainly had things his way for the last couple hundred miles. He just seemed to be able to go to the front at will, and the car has handled beautifully for him. He could run it right down on the inside of the racetrack or move on the outside as he is doing now around Jimmy Means.
And one thing we're very happy to report on, there were a lot of questions. There was a lot of speculation as to what might happen in this race in view of what happened last week at Charlotte regarding the tire situation. But we have seen no major problems whatsoever with tires blistering or chunking or equalizing. There have been a few, of course. You can expect that in any Winston Cup race, but no major problem for either of the tire companies in this race here this afternoon. Now, there's Davey Allison, and again, he has apparently dropped a cylinder and has fallen back to 5th position, just trying to get it home now.
And if he finishes this race just one lap down after having lost that cylinder, Bob, it'll be a major accomplishment, because I tell you, when you lose the cylinder on NASCAR Winston Cup racing and have to slow as much as he has, which we mentioned about 3/4 of a second, you know, usually the bunker cars have nasty, but he's been going around here at pretty good clip.
Well, Bill Elliott is not going to get past, we don't believe, and give us another lead change. We came very close to a record number of lead changes here this afternoon. The record number 28, and to this point we have had 25 lead changes, but as I said, I think Bill Elliott is not going to be threatened here in the closing laps. He comes down to complete lap number 498. There are 2 more laps to go, and our hats off to Morgan Shepherd and the Travis Carter crew for providing an excellent race here this afternoon. He's not going to win, apparently, but he is going to come home in second, and a very good showing for Morgan Shepherd.
And Jeff Bodine has slowed dramatically on the racetrack. He'll try to ride it out, but he has really slowed as he comes off of turn 4, as Bill Elliott comes around for the white flag.
Harold Kinder displays the white flag, and Bill Elliott has 1 more lap to go, and he'll have another victory in his corner, and it'll be the 25th career Winston Cup victory for Bill Elliott. He's halfway around, just a half mile to go before the checkered flag is his. He drops down low on the racetrack in turn number 3. He'll pass under Benny Parsons, who lets him have lots of racing room. Here comes Bill Elliott out of corner number 4, and Elliott wins the Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs International Speedway. Ernie and the team celebrating another victory for Bill Elliott.
And he deserved this one, Bob. He fought his way back from a lap down. Here's Morgan Shepherd coming around to get the checkered flag, of course, finishing in second place. But he was a lap down at one time, got back in the lead lap, and then was a factor from then on.
So a very safe race as we go quickly to the pit area.
Elliott, Ernie, you were sitting down calmly when your brother Bill came across the line, but you were talking to him. What was the conversation about?
We were just talking about, you know, what a good job everybody did. You know, the guys here did just an excellent job today. And, you know, the support of the guys back at the shop, all, you know, everybody involved really contributed to the win. I mean, you know, we almost got down 2 laps there early, and, you know, everybody just pulled together and worked hard. And, you know, he made it back up, and that's what it takes to win.
It's really a team sport. Back up to you, Bob.
He remains one of the most popular drivers in Winston Cup competition. He is a winner here today at Dover Downs. Bill Elliott will be back to talk with him after this. We go down to victory lane and talk with the winner of the Budweiser 500, Bill Elliott. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
An exhausted Bill Elliott climbs out of the course forward, sitting on the hood, trying to get cooled off. Bill, congratulations on a tremendous run.
Well, you know, the crew guys did a fantastic job. You know, we started out with Goodyear tires, and they give up after about 40 laps. Then we went to Hoosiers, and they just worked, you know, and they didn't give up anything when we started out even fresh, and that really surprised me. I got my lap back from Davey. I was almost 2 laps down there one time, and the caution came out when Morgan was right behind me in the 33 car, and I just did beat him back to the flag, and then I was able to beat Davey, and the caution came out. And I'm telling you what, this Coors Motorcraft Thunderbird really hauled butt all day long.
Ernie told me you were going to be patient all afternoon, and early in the race, you went ahead and let Morgan go on by, and you didn't race him. You were going to be patient. Ernie said that'll pay dividends later on, and it really did.
Well, it really did. You know, I was trying to run as hard as I could, but yet I was trying to save the tires because I didn't know what they were going to do. We did blister a right front early on in the race, but it seemed like the car was working so good that just anywhere you went on the racetrack, it'd go. And, you know, the last 150 laps or so, it worked.
Did you push the car the last few laps knowing that Davey was a lap down, or did you just go out there and ride a few laps?
I just rode it out because I knew that where the 27 was and where all other cars were, and, you know, I just did the best I could.
Second win of the year. It's a pretty favorite race car. You won with this one in Bristol.
It's been a good car.
Bill Elliott in victory lane here in Dover, Delaware, winning the Budweiser 500. Gentlemen.
And our winner's circle interview has been brought to you by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. Goodyear will donate the Driver Achievement Award of $1,000 in the name of Bill Elliott to the charity of his choice. Well, we'll be back to summarize things and have some closing comments here at Dover Downs International Speedway, where Bill Elliott won the Budweiser 500.